Romo out 6 to 10 weeks, a broken back issue. I don't know what the heck happened with the clearance, dodging the bullet, giving the green light. We got lucky, according to Jerry Jones. Then all of a sudden, we got hit with this devastating news for the Cowboys QB situation. Jerry will join us tomorrow to talk about this at 8:30. Yesterday, Troy was out at the Star in Frisco, and apparently everyone, you never see this, Des Bryant getting left. The media having zero interest in 88 once Dak walked out there, and he was asked, have you interacted and spoken with Tony since the news?
So we exchanged some texts yesterday. Obviously telling him sorry to hear he's hurt, and I hope he gets better and gets better soon for his own good. And just some good texts back. He supported me, has my back, but this is still his team. I'm just going to try to do my best to hold the fort down, I guess as you can say. Gives this team a great chance to succeed and win games each and every week.
Troy, what was the mood out there at the Star? I heard Jason Garrett's press conference, not ruling Tony out for week one, not going to give anything away. Everyone has to step up. What was it like out there?
Yeah, first of all, let's go and point that out. You said Tony's done for whatever you said. How many weeks?
6 to 10.
That's where'd you hear that? Where'd you hear that?
Oh, there's a lot of timetables.
Apparently, there are a lot of timetables. As I sat there at the start in front of Jason Garrett, and he tried to say with a straight face to all of us that it is day to day for Tony Romo. In which all the media guys kind of looked around like, did he say day to day?
They probably don't even know.
And we were like, okay. But yeah, I was expecting like the somberest of moods. I was expecting to walk in there, everyone's head down, and it just be a horrible place to be at. But that wasn't the case. Once you walk into the locker room and once you step foot in there, and Bryce Butler is, listen, he is the DJ of the locker room. So he's blaring Kool in the Gang. All the young pups in there looking around like, what the hell is a Kool in the Gang? And he's playing the music. But business was normal with Tony and the injury and the update. But it's like you said, when Des Bryant walked in, Des Bryant went, all right, come on. Y'all got a couple minutes because I got to go to Starbucks. So come on, let's go. Yeah, he said he had to go to Starbucks in between meetings.
I'll tell you may have to go out there and get a little Starbucks interview with Des.
I may have to. Well, see what he gets.
Well, Des said,
is it a dirt? Did he get a dirty chai latte? What does he get?
What?
Huh?
You're just making up words now.
No, not at all.
Well, Des sat down. The media just runs over there. They set up their little step stools and their cameras, and they're all talking to Des. And about 4 minutes into the conversation, Dak is brought in. Now, remember, rookies have their own little private locker room. So Dak's brought into the main locker room, and it was once again Justin Bieber rock star-esque.
Yeah.
And everyone just left Des. Des and Dwayne Price just sitting there looking at each other like, oh, well, let's just talk.
So,
real quick, when everybody comes around Dak, does he say, hey, Dak, give me 50 feet? Does he do that?
He did not.
So the word is they're going to go shopping for a backup QB now. So Dak's going to start against the Giants. Should Dak Prescott play at all in the final preseason game against the Texans on Thursday? 4-3-7-3-3.
No.
I am completely torn on this. 50-50. Should Prescott play?
Man, I've gone back and forth on this too. I thought about it for a good 24, 36 hours.
Because Dez is not going to play.
No, Dez. No, and
Zeke's probably not going to play.
Probably none of the other starters are going to play either, for the most part. But, and here's my thing. The guy saw 2,000 snaps in college, so it's not like he didn't see snaps. But there's a difference between college and pro. And if you have to get him, what are you going to? Here's the thing. How long are you going to play him? Are you going to play him a half? Then no, out.
What if it's a quarter?
I don't know.
I'm voting. You just talked it out and made my decision for me. If no one else is going to play, hell no. No. You're not going to play Tyron. You're not going to play Zach. You're not going to play Travis. You're not going to play Dez. You're not going to play Zeke. You're not going to play Alfred. What's the point of it?
Yeah, because you're going to have other guys you're going to have guys on the other team trying to make a team.
I mean, to me, the reps have value when you're out there with the guys you're going to suit up with for game one. Again, all reps are valuable. Either there's no amount of experience, it could be belittled. No. Keep him off the field since he is now your starter, and right now your only hope to keep things alive. Roy actually conducted a poll question as he was hosting during the weekend. What were the results of it?
We have about 400 votes
on this poll question about whether or not you would play Dak Prescott in preseason game 4. 56% say no. 44% say yes.
KT was going off about this on Twitter. And again, Autoflex Leasing fan text, should Dak play at all? 43733. He said, I'm not risking him getting hurt in a scrimmage. Cowboys playing cards with Satan himself if they play Dak next week. No, 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 no. Absolutely not. I'm voting no to playing him in that final game against the Texans. Roy, where do you stand on it?
I vote no because you don't necessarily want to risk him, but I don't necessarily think the reasoning for everybody saying, look, he could use some more time. Any little bit of extra in terms of playing on an NFL field, even if it's against inferior competition, he could use a few more throws. So if the Cowboys throw him out there for a series, I wouldn't be wholly upset about it. But for now, I would say just keep him on the sidelines for now.
Dak Prescott, Offensive Rookie of the Year odds opened at 300 to 1.
Oh, man, I should have taken that.
Now,
even money, baby.
7 to 1. 7 to 1. From 300 to 1 to 7 to 1. Dak Prescott. All right, let's get to this Colin Kaepernick story, and we can carry it over to Out of Bounds. To me, this is a perfect call segment later at 8:30. But Colin Kaepernick is not standing up during the national anthem. He is refusing to stand. Here is Kaepernick explaining why.
Ultimately, it's to bring awareness and make people, realize what's really going on in this country. There are a lot of things that are going on that are unjust, people aren't being held accountable for, and that's something that needs to change. That's something that, this country stands for: freedom, liberty, justice for all. And it's not happening for all right now.
So he's been doing this, but it really got noticed before the Niners played the Packers on Friday night. Colin Kaepernick taking this stance. Let you take this one, Chop.
Oh, Jesus, don't be out here. I am totally okay with him taking this stance. It's his right to take this stance. It's beauty. It's part of what we are. He's completely a moron because he's pointing his aggression at the complete wrong place. The American flag does not oppress anyone. The federal government does not oppress anyone. In fact, it's designed to not oppress. Name me the decision that the federal government, headed by a black man, and a Justice Department headed by a black woman, has oppressed anyone. You want to point to individuals? That pressure goes on every day. Every single day, individuals do that. Not going to argue that one at all. The federal government never oppressed you. Who's getting away with murder?
I think he's trying to get to the police issues.
Name me the cop that's murdered anyone lately. Well, they haven't murdered. I mean, you need to realize the definition of murder there, Colin. Nobody's getting murdered.
Someone read Clay Travis's article.
It was too long. I read bullet points. But who's murdered anybody?
Well, people would say, I'm just giving you the other side. People would say that there were some people that were helpless that were killed by police officers. That did not need to happen.
I agree. Again, that's not murder, though. He used the term murder. That's unlawful. That's wrongful death. Okay. But I mean, don't say people are getting away with murder. That's something Sean King would write.
I think devil's advocate would say you're being a little bit of a stickler. I'm just saying devil's advocate. Look.
Well, if you're going to take a stance to not stand at the national anthem, I could be a stickler about it. I think it's his absolute right, and I applaud what he did. I think it's great. I think more athletes need to do that. Don't say someone's getting away with murder.
I respect the guts. I understand what he's trying to do. He just needed a little coaching and focus on how to do it.
I loved his hair, by the way.
His hair, it's awesome. Cut your freaking hair. You look like a damn fool.
No.
Seriously.
It's great. I wish I could have.
Is it Squidward? Is that the character?
It's not Squidward.
Who's the SpongeBob character that he is supposed to look like?
That's not. Let me look.
Troy, who is it? Who's the comparisons to Kaepernick?
Sandy the squirrel?
Not Sandy the squirrel.
Sandy.
I was thinking Sasha
Patrick
Bob.
the starfish?
No, it's
Patrick's bald.
It's
Squidward.
Are you sure it's not?
No, it is Squidward.
It is Squidward.
It is Squidward.
RJ, you telling me that this is not Squid? These two don't look the same? That's Squidward.
Oh, I think you meant the hair, though.
Oh, no, the face.
Oh, the face, totally Squidward. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to think what SpongeBob character has that hair.
Tony Romo, broken back, out 6 to 10 weeks. Before we get to the schedule and how the Cowboys can possibly survive this, his future as an NFL quarterback is what?
Well, he's 36. He has no future as an NFL quarterback. That's just the nature of being 36. Tom Brady has no future either. It's the way it is. I mean,
What do you mean has no future?
Well, he's going to be 40. I mean, he's only going to get worse from here. So
Okay, hang on. I thought the dumbest thing that we started was the Aaron Rodgers for Amari Cooper.
Well, I mean, you're using the term
It
future.
still is.
yeah.
So, like his future,
Tom
obviously.
Brady has 2 more elite years at least, Kellerman. What is Tony Romo's? I mean, they're obviously different.
Well, I mean, Tony Romo there's zero future. I mean, he can come back healthy, but he's never going to get any better. So his future is diminishing, regardless of whether he's healthy or not. And now you add the back injury, a series of injuries.
Is Tony Romo going to play football again? Let's go yes or no's.
No.
He's not going to play again?
He's not at a level that he is a top 10 quarterback where you can count on him to be healthy. He could play quarterback if you consider, Peyton Manning played quarterback last year. I mean, did he play? Yeah, sort of. He'll play. He'll be injured. You'll hold your breath week to week. You'll have to sit him out and plan for 4 games without him every year. So, yeah, I mean, he can play the position, but I think with reality, obviously, we all see it. We all know it. We all feel it.
I'm talking about retirement.
He'll try to come back.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what he does.
Yeah. I can see him coming back this year, playing 2 games, getting hurt again, and then I don't know whether his wife, his family begs him in the offseason, look, you got to have a future here, whether there's a Prince Fielder decision. But, I mean, I'm talking a bigger picture of next year, opening day is Tony Romo starting for the Dallas Cowboys. Like, that's to where I'm taking it, because we can get mad that he played in the preseason. I'm not mad at all. I'm not 1% am I questioning the decision to play him against Seattle. As Laufenberg said during the broadcast, if he can't survive that, it was only a matter of time anyway. It was only a matter of time if he wasn't going to be able to survive that type of hit. But he'll come back. He'll play 2 games, I believe, and then we'll see if he gets hurt again. And then it's a 2017 decision, but it would not surprise me if he retired and he was gone. I mean, how many more times can you go through this? His body is broken. It's going to continue to get weaker and weaker. I don't think it's the end of seeing Romo in terms of just getting rid of him or having him step back on the field. He'll come back this year, I believe.
At some point, he'll try to make the comeback. At some point, Candace makes the decision.
She should.
Hawkins, Rivers, at some point.
Although I don't think anyone was going to stop him from trying to play. Some guys want to be lifers, and I think Peyton Manning had every single reason. How many times are you going to have surgery on your neck?
Right.
What he's going through is possibly worse than what Romo went through. No one was going to talk Peyton Manning out of that. I don't know what Tony's home situation is there in terms of it, but that's going to have to be a serious discussion that's going to be had if it hasn't been had already.
Look, the guy loves to play golf. What can't you do when you have a back injury?
Swing it.
So, if he and here's the reality of professional athletes. For the most part, unless something tragic happens, you're going to be retired a heck of a lot longer than you're going to be working. So he's got a long life to live. And do you want to live the next 50 years not being able to walk, stand up, play with your kids, play golf?
The problem is the convincing that these guys do.
Oh, I know.
You're having a rational conversation. There's just the invincibility factor.
Yeah, you convince yourself that you could do anything.
Yeah.
You've been invincible since you were 12 years old.
Yep. I think Muhammad Ali realized probably that he was getting embarrassed in front of our very eyes.
No, he didn't. Now, the money is different now than it was 30 years ago for athletes, so they could afford to say, you know what, I can walk away.
Yep.
But still, the competitive drive, the competitive juices flow. That's the one thing I do think with Romo that he has an advantage of over a lot of guys is that, he does play so many other sports competitively. I mean, he can go play golf competitively tomorrow, and, he'll be on these Rick Rhoden golf tours and everything with Al Del Greco.
Yeah.
All other crap. And he'll go play golf, on charity events and try to get on the senior tour someday. Who knows?
All right, let's move on to the schedule. You pick the timeline. It's supposed to be 6 to 10 weeks. We're cutting one off this week against the Texans. How many weeks do you want to go here projecting with Dak?
Let's go 8 weeks.
8 weeks. Okay.
8 NFL season weeks.
All right, let's go to the schedule. Obviously, it's nearly impossible to predict NFL schedules with the surprise factors every year. New York Giants at home to start off. I give the Cowboys possibility of the win there. Fair?
Fair. The Giants to me are scary. They're to me the second best team in the division. I'm high on the Giants this year.
Okay, so you're going to say win or loss?
I'm going to say it's a home game. I'm going to say win.
Okay. At Washington, I'm going to say loss.
I will say loss as well.
Chicago,
win.
Home, win. At San Fran, win. You love that. Cincinnati, loss. At Green Bay, loss. Fair?
I think they start 3-3.
Okay, that's what we have. 3-3, then you have the bye. Now, let's stop it right there before we go to week 8. If you're 3-3 through the bye, are you happy?
You're happy. You're thrilled. You're thrilled that you're 3-3 at the bye, but it's not enough to keep Dak as the starting quarterback.
That's a tough.
If that's your question.
That's a tough start. If Dak wants to stay as the starting quarterback, they've got to beat Cincinnati, and they've got to beat the Redskins, and their only loss has to be Green Bay, and then you don't even. Still.
To me, that's such a premature. I know.
Oh, I know.
It's such a ridiculous discussion.
It is because
it depends how Dak plays, how much does the defense play, how much is the running game.
Yep.
Look,
and don't forget, this is not Bill Belichick coaching this team.
Yeah, they're too committed to Tony.
But I think the question, though, is, and it's relevant, is there any scenario that Dak Prescott finds himself the starting quarterback after 8 weeks? That's the question.
Yeah, there's
6-0, 5-1. Those two scenarios, I think, give the Cowboys pause. Anything outside of that, and Tony slides right back into the starting role.
There's two scenarios. One is Tony retires, and then the other is that he just he never regains full health this year, and they just have to stick with it.
Or they're undefeated.
Or they're defeated. Here's the thing. This Cowboy team, yeah, they're invested in Tony. They're not nearly as invested in Tony as the Pats were in Bledsoe because they just gave him a massive deal that year. So he was on the beginning of a massive contract. But this is not the same organization. This is Jerry Jones and Jason Garrett running things.
A lot of feelings here.
And they think with their heart over their brain far too often.
Okay, 3-3, then you hit the bye. Let's just say Romo's still out. Philadelphia at home.
Win.
We'll mark down a win. Then you're at Cleveland.
Win.
I mean, they're all hope is not lost.
Nope.
I'm at an 8 on the panic scale, but that's not a nightmare schedule in order to try to survive. You got the Redskins, you got the Giants, you got the Bears, you got San Francisco, you got Philadelphia, you got Cleveland. I mean,
you could easily start out 2-2 or 4-0. I mean, easily. And you could look at yourself and you could be honest with yourself and say, you know what? Both is very, very possible.
Yeah.
2-2 is extraordinarily possible. Rookie quarterback. Giants are good. At the Redskins is tough. You can easily say, you know what? They're just better. They're better than both those teams.
Yeah.
Dak's not going to make mistakes. They'll be 4-0.
Yeah.
I could totally see their hat. And if they're 4-0, I mean, now you've set yourself up for you are winning the NFC East because you're going to have Tony coming back, presumably.
4-0. Oof. Town would be on fire.
The word came down that was no benign hit that Tony Romo took in Seattle the other night. He said he got, how'd he put it, squeezed. Yep. And he did get squeezed. And the upshot is he now has something broken back there. The L1 vertebrae has a fracture in it. And they're telling us this is 6 to 10 weeks.
Yeah, sources are saying that. You know, he woke up Friday morning, supposedly, and it was really, really hurting him badly, and they decided to get the MRI, and I'm sure that whenever he woke up and made the phone call, I don't know who you call first. Jason first, probably, and then you move up the food chain from there, that it was just like, are you kidding me?
I would imagine the doctor would be in there somewhere pretty close by.
Probably so. But I wonder how long it took for Jerry to find out. And, man, you're just holding your breath, hoping for the best, and it turns out that it really is. I mean, I guess it could be worse, but this is such a nut kick, man. Such a nut kick. And mainly I just feel bad. I just feel bad for him.
Yeah, I feel bad for him too.
You know,
because he was really looking forward to this season. He was really looking forward to being able to get through as much of it as he could, you know, healthy, and having everybody out there and seeing what this thing might be able to do.
Sitting here on Friday, too, we're talking about what went down on Thursday night, and we're talking about Friday, and me, like an idiot, I'm like, you know what, I think that he's had so much bad luck injury-wise that he's due for some good luck. And I think I threw out there that I think he's going to end up playing 14 of the 16 games. And while we were on the air, they knew.
That's when it came down.
They probably knew right then how bad it was, and they didn't release the information until Saturday. But, dude, it's just it's crushing. And I don't care how good Dak Prescott has been. They have found their backup quarterback. And, this may turn out to be some sort of Cowboy godsend in the end. Who knows? But that was the main thing that you took out of training camp. You took one thing out, and that was, man, you have found a guy that you really feel confident in as a backup.
Yeah.
Okay? That doesn't mean that you want him to go in there and play 8 games. He's still a rookie 4th-round draft pick. He's the 136th player taken in this draft. And as good as he has been, he's still in uncharted territory as far as where he was taken in relation to what he's getting ready to do, which is, who knows how long he's going to be out there. Whether it's 4 games or 1 game alone.
In training camp, and as he did so well in those preseason games, it made everybody feel a little bit better about the backup situation, about what might happen if, in such a situation like this. But nobody was thinking about, that being really imminent. As a down-the-road prospect, that was great.
Yeah.
But nobody was, like I say, nobody was really thinking about that being a here and now possibility. And I don't know, maybe we should have. Surely Thursday night and what happened to him in the game brought the picture into very clear focus for all of us that this is the reality of Cowboys football.
And everybody, I know Sturm harped on this pretty hard, and I totally agree with him. When you saw that go down on Thursday and they would flash over to him on the sideline, first off, the instant grabbing of the lower back and the wincing on the field. Like, oh, my God, you knew something bad had happened. And then they show him on the sideline, and he's sitting there grimacing on the sideline. And then they go to the locker room after the game and like, whoa, man, we really dodged a bullet there. That could have been really bad. Without really even knowing anything. They're all saying, nothing to see here. Move on. Don't worry about it. And
Look,
Tony was the same way.
Whenever he takes a big hit, there is something to see here.
Yes, there is.
If it's just him getting up and shaking it off and being okay, there is still something to see here. There is no such thing as nothing to see here when it comes to him.
First off, you feel awful for him. Then you feel bad for the team and the fans, because it's going to take that offense being at its absolute most potent to deflect from what could be a really porous defense.
Yeah,
they really need that offense clicking at 1,000,000%.
The general mindset among fans was that this team was going to have to outscore everybody if it was going to have much success this year, because it's bound to give up some points, and that certainly hasn't changed. The defense hasn't gotten any better on account of this, but scoring the points necessary for the type of success everybody's hoping for is a little bit different. It's kind of a different prescription for it now.
I can't imagine what he's thinking. And I want to get into the reality of this beyond football, because there is a bigger picture here for that guy and for the team too. I mean,
the reality is, and I know we're going to talk about this later, but everybody may have some very difficult decisions to make here.
Yeah,
that's just the nature of this thing. I mean, everybody knew this going into the year. Everybody knew that if something like this were to happen, it might lead us to this point, and I don't know, we may be there, but we'll get into that later on.
Do they dare play Dak Prescott in the upcoming game?
No. Sit.
You throw Jameel Showers out there the entire game.
And, wouldn't you like to see more of him anyway, just to see if he's a guy you can keep around?
I guess so.
You don't play Dak a couple of series just to fine-tune him up as the starter?
What if he goes down?
Well, who cares? It's all over anyway.
No, it's not.
It's not either. God.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man.
How Cowboy fan is that?
What if he goes down?
Who cares? It's all over anyway.
What if he goes down in the first series of Game 1? It's all relative. Don't you think that he needs a couple more series just to tune it up?
No, you don't. No, I don't. I don't play him at all. I don't see any reason.
They can't.
Because it's not just him. If you bring him in, you got to bring other first-teamers in too, right? To kind of if he's out there to work, he's got to work with the first team.
That's
you don't want
to.
Yeah, you don't want to.
You don't want him out there with the C team.
No.
And look, man, if I'm them, this has got me seriously spooked as is. I don't put Dez out there, except for maybe 2 or 3 plays tops.
I don't put Elliott out there.
I don't know if I put him out there,
even though he's played hardly any.
I take a look at the offensive line and see who I think is most essential there. I get them out of there. I might get Witten out of there. I mean, this may be nothing but an exercise in your depth guys, your second stringers and your depth guys.
I mean, it typically is anyway, but I mean, you're really overly
cautious.
I
mean, now more than ever.
Yeah, you don't play anybody. Matter of fact, you call the league and see if you can cancel the game.
Yeah.
See if they can pull the stunt that they pulled at the Hall of Fame game and just get it canceled.
I wish they'd get rid of this stupid game altogether, don't you?
I'd love it if they added a regular season game, but then you're talking about renegotiating the CBA and paying these guys. I mean, it's not going to happen.
And a guy who took over social media this weekend, and Troy noticed it, sent me a couple screenshots, is former Cowboy running back in studio with us, Philip Tanner on 105.3 The Fan. What's up, man? How you doing? Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, no problem at all. Glad to be here.
All right, which tweet generated more of a firestorm reaction? Your one about Romo or your one about Colin Kaepernick?
Probably Kaepernick. It was a real close race, though.
It was a close race. Here's what Philip Tanner tweeted out when the Romo news broke. If you do not think Romo is done, then basically you're in fantasy land. Father time waits for no man. Hashtag ask Kobe. Explain that for us, Philip. Tony Romo done.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time. It's injuries. And like I said, Romo's he's a warrior. He's a Spartan. But even Lil Knight is clocked out. So just looking back at his injuries from 2008, he had, of course, the broke finger, but the major injury was the broken collarbone, punctured ribs, back surgery, broken ribs, fractured clavicle, and then again, the broken bone in his back. So, man, it's a matter of time. The body can only go through so much.
All right, but by matter of time, what do you think for a timeline? Like, if he suffered that type of injury from that type of hit, I mean, are we looking at 6-game seasons? Are we looking at 10 games? Like,
if that. So you're holding your breath every time you take a snap now, because if you look back at it, every time he's been hit, he's went down.
Yeah.
So you're holding your breath every time he takes a hit.
Is he unlucky or injury prone?
Oh man, it's just the body. Over the course of time, how many injuries he have taken, and we're just talking about the notable injury. We're not talking about the knickknacks that he wake up on Monday morning and can't roll out of bed from just regular injuries from the game.
You think there's a chance he retires?
And mentally he won't do it. Should he? Who's to say that? But I don't think he will. But the body will.
What did the Cowboy fans have to say to you after you tweeted that over the weekend?
Of course, half of them said I was a bad teammate.
Right?
You know,
I love those guys. That's why I love Jesse Holly, because you're not going, you're just giving your opinion.
Right.
And you're not afraid of the backlash. You're a Dallas Kimball kid.
Exactly.
You're not,
exactly.
stabbing the Cowboys in the back. You're just giving, and a lot of Cowboy fans probably feel that Tony is done, and everyone around the country is laughing at us because, you got your Tony Romo's back in the hospital and all these different memes that came out. But I bet you had some agreeing with you as well, no?
Yeah, some was agreeing with me. And like I said, I just brought up the Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was one of the warriors out there too, and once he couldn't, he bounced back, another injury, and then he hangs it up, And a lot of guys, fans get so emotionally attached to these players that they think they're supposed to play just forever and through every injury. He's still human. Although we think he's Superman or anything like that, Tony Romo is still human. And at the end of the day, you got to worry about the player and the guy, not number 9.
Philip Tanner in studio with us here on the home of the Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan. What's he like?
Oh, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's a team player. He's a fun guy to be around. He joke around, So just being in a huddle with him as a rookie, I'm in there nervous, and he's having fun, especially with him. When him and Jason Witten getting together, it's a great time and it's fun atmosphere. So I love being in a huddle with those guys.
When do you think he could return? Like, does this 6 to 10 week timetable sound accurate?
No,
it's too not enough.
Short. I think it's too short. I think you really take your time and take your chances with him. However, the training staff in Dallas is phenomenal, So whatever they got to do to get him right. I've seen this guy come back after halftime with a punctured lung in San Francisco and play. So do I doubt that Romo can play? No, I don't doubt it at all. But it's just at what degree, at what chance do you take putting him back in?
What about their season? How have you felt about Dak Prescott? Is the season done and over with a rookie QB stepping in?
Not at all. However, I think you play through Zeke in the defense. I don't think you put that pressure on a rookie quarterback like this. It's a tough league for rookie quarterbacks. However, he seemed real composed and real well spoken as well. He played real well in preseason. However, that's still preseason. So I think at this time you play through Zeke, which I feel will be a phenomenal back, as well as depend on your defense.
What do you see in Zeke Elliott skill-wise?
Oh, man, I see it all. I think the kid has it all. I was a big fan of him at Ohio State, and I was an advocate saying, definitely draft him with the future first pick because he can do it all. He's fast, he's big, he's strong, So if he just, keeps his head on straight and get behind Jason Witten and get in Jason Witten's pocket and follow his lead, he'll be a great guy.
I've been very critical of the Cowboys' offensive staff, especially when you were there. Not creative enough. We never see anything different. Not capable of adapting. And a lot of that criticism was towards Jason Garrett. Scott Linehan is obviously now the guy. As an offensive staff, do you have faith that they'll curtail and adjust and change things towards Dak's skill set? Because we always hear about this Romo-centric type offense. What do you think, Philip?
I think they will. I think they have to. I think they have to in order to win. And a lot of people criticize Jason Garrett, if they lose games, like as if Jason Garrett goes out and say, okay, let's lose this game. That's not the case at all. Jason Garrett is Jason Garrett, and Scott Linehan comes in, of course, with more creativity. So I think they will adjust, especially with Dunbar coming back off an injury. He brings a different element to the game, than any of the backs that they have. So Scott Linehan creates special ways for Dunbar to get the ball in space and pretty much play through those guys and take a lot of pressure off of Dak Prescott.
What do you think of Jason as a coach?
Oh, he's a great guy, man. He's a great man. He's a player's coach. He's one of those coaches that, not too egotistic to take ideas from players. It's not one player bigger than the other because, he's coming from he was a free agent guy. He was a guy that was just the next man up guy. So he has that, man. He gels real well with the players and the players respect him.
Football-wise, X's and O's-wise?
Oh, man, one of a kind. It's a family thing. Going down from his dad to his brothers, So I've been out to Princeton at his camp, and he's a football-minded guy.
Philip Tanner in studio with us on the home of the Cowboys.
Wow,
105. It is aggressive, Coach. It's true. It's so disappointing. We were all happy. Philip was coming in, and I remember him from back in the day being basically a spokesman for Wingstop. And I'm like, all right, give me the flavors now. What have you moved on to? What have you adjusted to? And he delivered the news, Troy Hughes, that he has jumped ship from Wingstop.
Oh, you got another wing place?
No. He's a vegetarian. What happened, Phil? You want to unfollow him now or later?
How do you go from garlic parmesan to kale?
Dude, what happened?
Oh, it was definitely a health reasons. Wingstop was one of my poisons. So I asked myself.
Yeah, you look like you've been struggling in the house.
Yeah, you're hurting over there. Are you playing O-line?
28 years old.
Yeah, so I just wanted to do better things with my body. Become more health conscious. It wasn't necessarily for animals' sake. So I'm not gonna sit here and say that was sort of for, but it was just for health reasons and doing research of.
Then why are you wearing a PETA shirt?
What kind of health reasons?
Just different diseases, man. A lot of diseases in animals that are definitely unknown to man.
So what's been
whatever.
What do you miss?
What
do you miss the most?
Probably wings. Of course, wings.
Wings?
Yeah.
What was the go-to flavor there?
Go-to flavor garlic parmesan and Hawaiian.
Ranch or blue cheese?
Ranch, of course. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's no
ask
blue
it like
cheese.
it's a ridiculous question.
Now, Sean, I had some garlic parmesan wings not too long ago. They were good. When's the last time you've had some?
Garlic parmesan?
Yeah, or any kind of wings.
Oh, last night at Twin Peaks.
Man, they're so good.
Yeah,
I mean,
they are.
just when you get that moisture of the wing on your lips.
Yeah, celery crunch.
It's incredible.
Eat that celery. He's not missing it at all. So what's your go-to dish? Like Friday night, a great dinner. We're going out and you're getting quinoa.
Quinoa. Is that a film star?
Actually, my spot is So-and-So's, man. It's a So-and-So's, a bar off of McKinney, man.
Man.
Vegetable pizza, man. It's unbelievable.
Oh, vegetable pizza.
Yeah, vegetable pizza.
Okay, so you
Which is
still
surprising because that's a meat market there.
Yeah, that's right. All right, we got Philip Tanner in studio. If you have Cowboy questions now or from back in the day, text them 43733, 43733. Tony Romo sounded like he's done, according to Philip Tanner, just a matter of time. And does he support or oppose what Colin Kaepernick is doing with the national anthem? We'll ask Philip next in studio right here on The Fan. Philip calls in a little Twitter stir over the weekend by saying basically you need to come to terms with the fact that Tony Romo, he's going to be done. It's going to be over for Romo with this broken back. He's out 6 to 10 weeks, and Philip thinks maybe it could be even more.
And by the way, a great compliment by one of the Twitter trolls to you, Philip, by calling you an out-of-touch millionaire.
Yeah.
I need a loan.
Yeah.
I was really flattered by that comment. I need to send him a thank you card.
Okay. What about... By the way, what are you up to nowadays? You still here in the area?
Yes, I'm here. I'm actually a athletic director and head football coach at a middle school here in Dallas, A.W. Brown Charter School.
Wow, you go from a violent sport like the NFL to a more violent sport like youth sports.
Yes, man. It was definitely an eye-opener for me because all these guys and, of course, their parents think they're going straight to the NFL from middle school. But I'm excited to be around the guys and really culture and cultivate those middle school guys, man, and just show them. I feel that's the best way to change the world, man, is definitely cultivating the youth.
Okay, RJ is getting dog cuss on the Autoflex Leasing fan text because of his stance on Colin Kaepernick protesting the national anthem. Here's Kaepernick explaining what he did. He's done now a couple of times, the latest before the Niners took on Green Bay.
Ultimately, it's to bring awareness and make people realize what's really going on in this country. There are a lot of things that are going on that are unjust, people aren't being held accountable for, and that's something that needs to change. That's something that, this country stands for freedom, liberty, justice for all, and it's not happening for all right now.
As an African-American, Philip, and you tweeted about this yesterday, it blew up throughout the Metroplex. What do you think of Kaepernick's stance?
Man, I support him 100%. 100%. Everything he said, what he did, I support him 100%.
Why?
Because first of all, with the First Amendment, he had that right to do that.
Are you supporting his right or are you supporting his opinion?
Both. And a lot of people come to me and they straight lashed out at, are you talking about police? I said, that's not what Kaepernick said. That's not what Cap said. Cap said he want to bring awareness to what's going on in the country. That could be anything. That could be anything where his stance on immigration, his stance on anything in the country that's going on, you can take from that comment. Then he said, liberty, happiness, is that happening? Is that happening? And that's so subjective. And with that being subjective, he can do what he's doing.
I just wish he would have been a little more specific. It's interesting you take the opposite stance of how can you really kill him, because it could be a wide variety of things that he's talking about. Do you feel he's accurate in African Americans being oppressed?
Yes and no. I feel there are some oppression, and that's what I asked on Twitter. Is police brutality real? Is oppression real? It is, and it cuts both ways. It definitely cuts both ways. I'm not going to say that it's just definitely one-sided. It cut both ways. So with Kaepernick, he did a great job with being very broad and direct at the same time.
Do you think it's disrespectful towards the military or those who have served to not stand up during the anthem?
Not at all. Not at all. And I spoke to even vets that was on my Twitter, and they said it wasn't respectful. It actually honored them, because they fought for us to have the right to decide what we wanted to do. If we wanted to sit or we wanted to stand, we wanted to speak, if we didn't want to speak. So that same right that everyone has at lashing out at Kaepernick shows that he had that same right to do what he wanted to do as far as sitting down to the national anthem.
What were the most common Twitter responses you got?
Oh, man, I'm a racist.
That you can say.
I'm a racist.
I heard you're from Canada.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I said. I had to tell everybody I was from Canada, and they said, oh, really? I said, no. I said, well, everybody else is being something they're not on Twitter, so why not me?
But overall, would you say people disagree with you?
Yes. However, Kaepernick did exactly what needed to be done and brought awareness to the situation. And I feel we as athletes, we have to stand up, no matter the race, we have to stand up to better the country, in whatever way we feel or whatever way needs to be done. We as athletes have a huge voice on that platform, so we have to stand up in a positive way and use our voice.
What do you think, Chop?
Look, I'm getting killed from all sides here, so what do I know? I agree. I think I may be in the minority on this one. I think it's totally patriotic to utilize your rights, and I don't know any. And I listen to a lot of sports radio.
Is
over
it
the weekend.
Patriotic or is it American?
It's American. To me, American and patriotic kind of go hand in hand.
Okay.
Now, I do think that his
patriotic to me, I think maybe, in my opinion, we need to alter a word or two that you're using.
Oh, sure, and that's fine.
Patriotic to me is showing pride and really showing pride in the country and pride in the flag. This is, to me, more American, utilizing your rights.
Okay, that's fair. I think because utilizing
patriotic,
your rights,
I'm standing on the top of the CBS building waving a flag back and forth.
I don't know any serviceman,
in my opinion,
or woman who would not want you to utilize all your rights. Whether or not they agree with your stance or not, that's what they fight for. I think the energy he's putting towards the flag, using it, I'm not going to stand for a flag. The flag doesn't oppress anyone. The government doesn't oppress anyone. Individuals do. That's where the specifics, I think, would come into play. That's where me and Colin I'm totally with him when he wants to do a silent protest, a vocal protest. That's American as hell. We deviate when he starts talking about, or being general with oppression, because I don't know that, the federal government or anyone is oppressing people. I think it's individuals, it's money, it's corporations. You want to go down that road, I'm not going to argue with you on that one at all.
And with that being said, and that's what he said, he want to change what's going on in the country. If that's what's going on in the country or in his life or people that he know life, I feel he's very entitled to speak on that, and I don't think anything is wrong with Kaepernick speaking on that. It's not like he went and looted or started a violent protest. He did a very peaceful and silent protest, something that he did on his own, and everybody bring attention to that one game, but Cap was doing it the whole preseason.
Philip Tanner in studio, former Cowboys running back here on The Fan. If you were Roger Goodell for a day, what change would you make to the league?
If I was Roger Goodell for a day, it would definitely be preseason. Definitely be preseason. Right? I would definitely limit preseason, if not cut it.
What's your stance on marijuana?
On marijuana, I don't like it. I'm not a marijuana guy. So I really don't have a comment on it. Guys, do what they do. So I'm gonna stay away from that question.
Yeah. Let me ask you this on the preseason real quick though. If they got rid of the preseason, Tony Romo still gets hurt in game 1 or 2 because that hit happens at some point. The Cowboys are going to overpay for a backup. They don't know what Dak Prescott is, or how do they know what Dak Prescott is?
When do they know?
Yeah.
How long does it take when you're on those practice fields or watching these games against whatever defense, vanilla, not scheming it up, not bringing blitzes? Like, when will you know?
About Dak, man, I think week one. I think week one against New York, man, a division rival. Because the lights are a lot brighter in the regular season and preseason. Lights are a lot brighter in playoffs than regular season. And, of course, you have the Super Bowl. So the lights get brighter and brighter. So although, Dak has all the confidence in the world, reality is reality. So, I think you'll know week one whether he's there or he's not.
You have confidence he can be the guy?
Oh, I do. But then, like I say, I don't feel putting the pressure on having him to have to go out and win. I still say play through Zeke and as well as the defense.
All right, let's finish up with word association based upon some of your other NFL stops. Indianapolis, after you left here, first time around, you had Luck. Was it Luck and Pagano?
Yeah, Luck and Pagano.
All right, Andrew Luck.
Oh man, he's a different guy. He's fun. He's like that Sandlot quarterback.
He has a flip phone.
Yeah, he has a flip phone and he loves it. But he's like that Sandlot quarterback. So you got to be ready to adjust at the line of scrimmage every play.
Do you think it's crazy that some people think Andrew Luck is overrated?
Yes, I think that's crazy.
Is he a stud?
The guy's a stud. He can definitely play football.
Just turnover issues? To me, he's trying to do too much.
Like I said, he's that Sandlot quarterback. He's drawing plays up in the dirt. He's checking things at the line of scrimmage, and he's going out there and definitely having a lot of fun doing it.
Jim. It was Jim Harbaugh, San Francisco.
Oh, no, another great guy, man. I love the khakis,
Intense?
the khakis and cleats, he was an intense guy. He was definitely a X and O guy, man.
Was the intensity a turnoff, like a burnout?
No, he was a player's coach and a player's loved him. I still remember the last game of the season when he came in and it was tears in guys' eyes because they knew, that was the last time he would be there in San Fran. So the players loved him.
Anyone stand out in Buffalo?
In Buffalo, Sammy Watkins, he's a stud, man. He'd be one of the top 5 receivers here in the league, man. Sammy Watkins was a great guy. And then I had Anthony Dixon, Fred Jackson, that backfield was a lot of fun. Then being coached by Tyrone Wheatley was phenomenal.
What type of guy is Kaepernick?
Oh, Kaepernick's a great guy. First of all, he's one of probably the best ping pong players I've seen.
Really?
This guy thinks he's the best. Roy White thinks nobody's better than him.
I haven't met many that can beat me, so that's what I'm basing it off of. I'm looking for people.
Kaepernick's like the Forrest Gump, man. He's like Forrest Gump, man. He can definitely play ping pong. So it was exciting sitting watching those guys. I couldn't play, so I just sat there and spectated.
Who's the most competitive guy you've ever played with? Doesn't matter whether it's on or off the field. Like, the guy is just an alpha male, nut job, Michael Jordan type competitor.
Oh, hands down, Jason Witten. It's not even close.
Really? It's
not even close from all the team. Frank Gore would probably be a close second. Frank Gore is one of those guys. He's going to take every rep at practice. He didn't care who you were, how many reps he took. He's going to take every rep. But
Witten off the field too?
Oh, Jason Witten on the field, off the field, sleep, whatever you're doing. Jason Witten's that guy, man. One of my most memorable moments when we drafted Gavin Escobar. Witten took that as a personal challenge, and he was motivated every day, man. Of course, the free agents come in the offseason, try to get extra work. Jason Witten was there before everybody, man. He's one of the most. He's a professional. A lot of people play professional football. That doesn't make you professional. Jason Witten is, from top to bottom, the most professional guy ever been around.
Well said, Philip Tanner. I think you got a little future in this, man. Stop back anytime. Love opinions.
Yes, sir.
P Tanner 34.
Yes, sir.
On Twitter.
Also, October 13th, man, we'll be playing at Cowboys Stadium. My homecoming for A.W. Brown. We'll be at Cowboys Stadium at 6:30, October 13th.
Nice, man. Thank you for coming in. Philip Tanner. I think we're going to make this one consistent here on the home of America's team.
We have lots of Cowboy audio. Do you want to hear Jerry or do you want to hear Keith Russell?
Yes.
It's all good, right?
Yes.
Keith Russell,
the darling of the Blue Star.
Cowboy cheerleader on the sideline. Philly fan. We've learned that last year. He came from Philadelphia.
Leave the poor guy alone.
And he said he bled green, and then all of a sudden he gets hired here, and now he's trying to convince all the Cowboy fans that he's a lifelong Cowboy fan. And some people think they need to do that in their jobs. Some people say I have a Packer tattoo, and that's it. I was born in Green Bay, sorry, and I cover the Cowboys. And
got here as fast as I could.
Some people, cheered for a team that left them in 1999, or 1995, I should say. They returned in 99. But that's why I became a diehard Cowboy fan, of course. But Keith Russell, Philadelphia Eagle plant, sent here by Chip Kelly, And then when Chip Kelly got fired, he was just lost. He was stuck here. And so he's still on the sideline. He's still on the Cowboy broadcast, and he's still trying to pump you up.
An interesting matchup against these Miami Dolphins. Let's go down to the sideline now, and Keith Russell. Keith.
Hey, guys, throughout training camp, a lot of the Cowboys' primetime players had a lot of things to say. Tony Romo says he had a great camp. He feels better than he has in quite some time. Des Bryant says his confidence is higher than it's ever been. Terrence Williams says he can no longer talk about it. He has to be about it. Sean Lee says he's going to be a better leader than ever before. And the young guys on defense say they might be no names now, but not for long. A lot of guys have a chance to back up those words, guys.
All right, Keith Russell will be roaming these sidelines.
What was the last group? Like there was a group of
young
players?
Guys. Well, he didn't give their names because they're no-name
Better
players.
leader than ever before. And the young guys on defense say they might be no names now, but not for long. A lot of guys
like collectively they said that?
Yeah, he was interviewing them.
Like since you guys are
there
nobodies.
There were 17 people sitting in front of him.
Since you guys are nobodies, let's just interview you all together.
Young guys, answer all at once.
It's like a barbershop quartet.
It's like when Dan punches all the phone lines up at the same time and they all just start talking.
I love Papa John's pizza, but do they ever say this about it?
Well, Keith, do you know why Papa John's pizza tastes so great?
Mickey, I'm sure you're going to tell me.
It's the ingredients, like the vegetables, fresh, whole, and never frozen. And you know that pepperoni? 100% pork and beef. And when you have ingredients like that, you have better pizza, you have a better preseason, and it's got to be Papa John's.
Delicious and nutritious. Welcome back to AT&T Stadium.
And you have a better preseason when you have ingredients like that.
Well, you have better pizza, you have better preseason.
It makes preseason better. And I don't know how much to gloss over the idea that Papa John's is nutritious, but I can tell you that
it has nutrients.
George DiGianni is very disappointed in me every time I'm stuffing pizza down my pie hole.
Delicious. Which is every time the Rangers score 7.
That's right.
And I have heard this, some people are saying, Bob, that Keith Russell with Dak Prescott on the sideline was performance art.
That's what they are saying. That's what the trades are suggesting.
So let's listen.
Good stop by the Dallas defense, and let's go check in again with Keith Russell.
Bill here with rookie phenom Dak Prescott. Dak, what can't you do? That's what everyone wants to know.
Stop. You can't declare someone to be a rookie phenom in the preseason.
Yes, you can.
And people are not asking Dak, what can't you do? No one's asking that. That's a made-up question, right? People are asking? I want some sources.
Well,
what can he do?
I was at the water cooler this morning, as a matter of fact. And I believe Tess posed that question to me.
I believe he works miracles is what he does.
Bill here with rookie phenom Dak Prescott. Dak, what can't you do? That's what everyone wants to know.
Everyone.
That's a difficult question. There's a lot that I can't do. There's a lot I got to get better at. We had a decent start to the game, but obviously we want to win. That's my main goal, is to make sure we can win.
Do you feel you've earned the backup quarterback job with the Dallas Cowboys?
I come in each and every day and just try to make myself the best player I can on and off the field, the best person as well. And it takes a lot of hard work, and that's all I'm really worried about. That's up to those guys.
What did you say to Tony? I know you shared a moment with him after he came out of the game.
Yeah, just clapping on me. I'm always behind him. I've got his back. I was going on as he was coming out, so it was just a little 5.
So I gave him 5. I said, hey, good job. What did you share with him?
He asked me to pick him up and crack his back, and
what really could have been, what knowledge did he pass on to you when he came out of the football game?
He pulled him close like Adrian and just said, win. Win.
It takes a lot of hard work, and that's all I'm really worried about. That's up to those guys.
What did you say to Tony? I know you shared a moment with him after he came out of the game.
Yeah, just clapping on me. I'm always behind him. I've got his I was going on as he was coming out, so it was just a little 5.
And lastly, Dak, how have you managed to stay so humble and so calm and so poised in the midst of the entire Dallas-Fort Worth area, throwing so many accolades your way?
It's a lot that I've got. I want to be a great NFL quarterback. There's a lot I got to do to get there. Tonight I had some mistakes. It may have looked good from other people's eyes, but there's a lot of mistakes I got to get cleaned up. And I just know that it takes a lot of hard work.
Thank you, Dak. Dak Prescott, 7 total touchdowns, no turnovers so far in 3 preseason games, guys.
All right, thanks, Keith.
So
how have you dealt with
the bright lights of having 2 preseason games under your belt? I mean,
surely the paparazzi must just be
2 preseason games under your belt. I mean,
surely the paparazzi must just be insane.
How have you made time to appear at all the statues that have been built and be photographed in front of them?
Which book deal are you choosing at this point? We know you're sifting through a lot of offers. Where would you, if you were on the planning committee for the parade route, where would you want to drive by?
Now that you've made it to the highest level of quarterback play possible,
what's next for Dak Prescott?
OT8.
You've gone clear. Oh, that's great. That's great.
I don't think the season is lost.
No.
Dak Prescott may be pretty good. Now, it may take him a while. Rookie quarterbacks tend to struggle. The Cowboys' history of rookie quarterbacks is not necessarily great. The Morning News, Brad Townsend, goes back through the history. Chad Hutchinson was 2-7 as a rookie. Quincy was 3-5. Troy was 0-11. Roger played 1 game as a rookie. He started the opener, was 1-0. And then Craig Morton came back from injury, which brings up an interesting hypothetical. Let's say Dak Prescott starts 6 games and the Cowboys go 5-1, and he is among the league leaders in all passing categories, and Tony Romo is declared ready to go. What do you do if you're Jason Garrett? Or probably Jerry makes that call. What do you do if you're Jerry/Jason?
I think they defer to Romo, but I think that would be a really tough thing if the team's playing really well and he's playing well. I don't know.
You'd have behind-the-scenes bitching by team members who feel like you're not giving Dak something he has earned now if they go back with Romo?
So this is a great sports debate. Should you lose your starting job to injury? You know, Tom Landry always had the philosophy, nobody loses their starting job to injury. No matter how well the replacement plays, when my starter is healthy, he's back in the lineup as the starter. Even Jones said to Peter King this weekend, he said, I can't imagine a scenario where Tony's not our quarterback when he's ready. But things happen. You know that. You know what happened to Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady. And as Peter reminds us, in 2001, Bledsoe was knocked out with internal bleeding for most of the season. Unknown Tom Brady relieved him, and never gave back the starting job.
Yeah,
which was a mistake. That year. It was a mistake.
Stephen goes on and says, I'm sure Tony's aware of that, the Bledsoe-Brady thing. But the reality is Tony's going to come back and play for us and play great, we believe. So Stephen leaves the door open for Tony not getting his job back if Dak Prescott turns out to be Tom Brady-ish.
I think it's a funny statement by Stephen. I can't imagine Tony not coming back and starting, except for me going back and looking at the Drew Bledsoe thing. He completely imagines it.
Yes. And what an incredibly tough decision for the Cowboys if Prescott's playing lights out, if the team is winning, the fans are behind Prescott, and then you offer not only the Cowboys, but the fans the option of, we have this bright, shiny new quarterback who is great, and we're rolling, we're 5-1 or we're 6-0, whatever it happens, or we can bring back our old creaky 36-year-old quarterback who may still be in a back brace.
Yeah.
Which one do you want? But it would be hard to tell Tony, no, you're Dak's backup. How would Tony wouldn't accept that?
How about they do the trick, the Jedi mind trick of, we're going to leave it up to Tony to publicly make the decision of who he thinks should start. If Dak has been doing incredibly well and they're undefeated, does Tony sit there and say, okay, I'm a team player. It's not about me. So what decision should I make?
It's a lot safer over here on the sidelines. And my back, it's not quite ready yet. You know, may watch this kid play a few more weeks. And then that may take care of itself, and he may struggle, and then back in you go.
But if they put it in Tony's court and he says that this guy's doing great, I mean, isn't there only one decision Tony could make then, which is to say, I think he should keep starting. He's not hurt. He's doing well. I'm a team player. I'm Tony Romo, but I'm a team player, and the team is doing incredibly well right now. We couldn't do any better.
Right.
So why would I put myself in?
All right, so that option not being an option, if you guys were the head coach, what would you do? Week 7, your team is 5-1, and your rookie quarterback is playing lights out.
If he's playing lights out, I think I would tend to stay with him.
Yeah, go with the hot hand.
And then just see if it takes care of itself. And I would almost maybe use the excuse, hey, we want to make sure that you're really healthy.
Yeah, and go to Tony and say, hey, look, Tony, I know this is awkward, but this may be your only chance to get a Super Bowl ring.
It's a tough call because Tom Landry would give the job back to Romo, but Bill Belichick would stay with Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
Who won more Super Bowls? Both coaching legends, both geniuses, but there is no right answer.
No.
It's all on feel, and wow, what a tough decision. Now, it may not come to that. It's a fun hypothetical. Prescott may be terrible. I think he's going to be pretty good because I can't imagine a better situation for a rookie quarterback. You come in playing behind the best offensive line in football, so you're going to have a lot of time to make the right decision. You've got a running back that I think is going to be really great, which we'll get to in the next segment. You've got one of the best, if not the best, wide receivers to throw to, a Hall of Fame tight end to throw to. Could a rookie land in a better spot?
No. And see, I think when you compare him to Cowboys rookie quarterbacks of the past, that Quincy team that he was surrounded with was not very good.
Or that Troy team.
The Troy team of '89 was ridiculous. I mean, it was a revolving door. The players that they would run in and out of here every week. So, yeah, I think they could have succeeded had they had this offense to work with.
What does Ryan say? That '89 team was Troy and a bunch of guys named Broderick.
You know, I know no one wants to bring it up, but if Dak is playing great, Tony's ready. You know who would be mad if he was pulled out of Dak is pulled out from behind center, Tony put in there? I don't think it'd go over well with the community.
Probably not.
No, because the community's not really down with Romo to begin with.
No, the community has some issues with Romo, and the community is tired of the lunch pail white guy always getting jobs that they think that they don't necessarily deserve at all times.
I think you're right, but I think it would go far beyond that. I think the Cowboy community in general, be they black, white, Hispanic, Asian, or of other descent, I think everybody would be a little ticked off at that decision because we've been through so much mediocrity in the last 10 to 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you've got this new quarterback, and again, feel awful for Tony that it would come to that, but I think most of the fans would be like, we love Tony, but let's go ahead and stick with Dak.
Maybe, I guarantee it.
What would Ed Carter say?
Back to Tony.
Let me start here. Because I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised, right? You're not shocked that Tony Romo is injured because...
Also not shocked that the information that was given to us on Thursday night was a pile of horse hooey, Norm. Because what is Jerry and Tony going to say? What do they always say? They dress it up. They run, I don't want to say they're lying because they're not. They're probably trying to convince themselves everything going. That's what they do for a living.
Why are you a hater?
Why
don't you support my team?
I want to see that doggone dude. I want to see him holding a trophy. I really do. I hope everyone understands how bad everyone wants to see Tony Romo have good things happen to him. And I know there are exceptions. I know a Giants fan out there is pumping his fist with excitement that this is finally it. But most of us think that he's a good dude who's played his heart out, and you want to see good things happen to those guys. You want to see his Dirk story. Of course, the reason the Dirk story is so amazing is it's so rare. Incredibly rare. More rare, no matter how rare you think it is, it's even more rare than that probably. And so as you go through this deal with Tony Romo, it's not about wishing him ill will or wanting to be right or any of that. It's just, I don't know how you can watch this guy play and not come to the conclusions that we're way, way, way closer to the end than we are to the beginning. And then once you accept that, now it's just, to what extent, right? At what level? And the level is, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't have the details of the Miami game completely memorized. But just assume in the Miami game he wasn't tattooed very often. You're talking about like the last 5. Is that fair, Jake? The last 5 times he was tattooed in NFL games, he's been basically carried off the field in 3 of those occasions. Right? Like maybe he was hit once or twice.
Iron Man.
Maybe, that's not his fault. I mean, it's deteriorating health. It's not that he's made of glass because he's a gentle soul who shouldn't be doing this for a living. No, I mean, I think the alternative view would be he's left his whole body out on the field, and there's just not that much of it left.
That's why when we had Favre talk, my most amazing Favre stat was his consecutive games played.
Yeah.
Or started or whatever that incredible.
How you can answer the bell every 7 days. It's
at that position.
But you know what?
Because you're getting hit all the time.
The Favre thing that always felt weird for me, and you know my feeling for that guy, but the thing that's weird about that is it's not about want. I don't even, it's weird to attribute, whether it's Lou Gehrig or Brett Favre or any of those guys, it's weird to attribute personal credit.
But it's what your body is able to do. It's not like he was just lucky.
Because I don't know that Favre was some sort of elite, never tamper with your body. I mean, the dude was he partied pretty hard. I mean, his track record of living hard is pretty well documented. So I don't know if there's something about just random luck in all of this. And I don't know. It's a complicated story, but unfortunately at this stage, if you're still telling yourself this is all a series of unconnected, random, unfortunate events with Tony Romo, then I don't know how many more times you would have to see it to come around to the other side. Like the other side is 2010 had something to do with 2013. 2013 had something to do with 2014. 2014 probably had something to do with 15 the first time and 15 the second time. And 2016 in Seattle, yes. Whether a medical professional will tell you they're connected or it's one leads to the next, it's just the simple life experience we all have that says a car with 250,000 miles on it, Dan, breaks down more than a brand new car. And I know humans are not vehicles, but go with me. You know what I'm saying, right? You understand.
They're just like it.
Yeah.
They're just like it. It's wear and tear. And that's why I was more amazed at Favre, because he had a ton of wear and tear, but he never, got injured bad enough. Maybe some of it's luck, but some of it is certain guys are more prone to injury. And yes, once you get one injury, perhaps you're more prone to another one.
I mean,
you're compensating one area of your body.
People get really mad if you say that, but we all admit that hereditary, genetic things give some people a great head of hair when they're 90, and other people are bald when they're 20. I mean, we have differences. We are all human, but some bones and some bodies, are indestructible, and others, it's a varying line.
Okay, welcome back, G-Bag Nation. Every Friday at 10:30 during the football season, we have owner and GM of the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, on with us. The Jerry Jones Show is brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers, the official vehicles of your Dallas Cowboys. Ford is the best in Texas. And Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Segment's brought to you by Simple Sleep Services as well. And we're good? All right, line 10 over here. Here he is. And a good morning, sir. How you doing?
Hey, great, guys. Good to be with you.
So first off, have you heard anything about how Tony's feeling this morning?
Well, I haven't. I'm sure. I hope they're still moving around, either slow or still asleep, because everybody got in here about 5 or 6 in the morning. But he was doing fine after the game. Great spirits. Didn't indicate any lingering effects from it. I'm sure he will probably have a little soreness, but was in very good spirits. Of course, was plenty teed off, not getting to go back in the game, but some good decisions there, and he was in step with things after the ball game.
That is good news. Do you anticipate him having any tests, or are we even clear of that threshold?
They really, because of his lack of any sensation in his lower area, legs, so unless there's anything that might show up, which I don't know that I would expect any more than any other player, even in spite of what we saw. So I don't think there'll be any more tests, frankly.
Well, Jerry, Ezekiel Elliott gets his first taste of the NFL, and that was really exciting for Cowboy fans because he takes on one of the most physical safeties in the game and did not back down from the challenge.
Well, he's let's just go back to what he was, or what we've seen him do a lot now. And for all practical purposes, he carried Ohio State for 2 years, and they had a great team. But, boy, he's renowned for his finishes on his runs, his physical finishes. He can deal it out, and he's got it to deal with. He's almost 230 pounds, and so, but he's so powerful and quick, and you saw that on the edge when he got the edge the other night and turned it up. You saw him really. He was out there 2 or 3 times. The quarterback didn't go with him, throw the ball to him, but he certainly was there for his use, so to speak, and open. And receiving is a big deal to him. And then that pass block he threw on the play that actually Tony ultimately got hurt on, or had this incident on. I'm going to put it like that. I don't even like to use that word. But still, he just upended that linebacker, and that was very deliberate. The coaches put in those plays so they could see him do it.
Okay, how many plays do you think he's ready for now, and do you anticipate him being a full go as far as reps and full 4 quarters on the 11th?
Yeah, I don't see, as far as this preseason game, there's no reason extending him, just as there was no reason last night to extend it, coming off of the tentativeness we've had with his hamstring. There's just no need in it. And you know what he is as a runner. And so he's obviously back to form on blocking and that type of thing. So there's no reason to get him an inordinate amount of snaps, and we've got some good backs in there, and certainly 34. And, of course, we've got Morris in there as well for right now. I do maybe see some Dunbar in the last preseason game, but that's getting ahead of it a little bit.
Jerry, what was going through your head when Tony went down? Because I'm not allowed to say the words that I said when Tony went down.
Well, I was a little more reverent than that. It's called praying. And seriously, and it just was a complete replay for me from almost a year ago, sitting there with those thoughts. And it was just surreal. And so, anyway, we all, I'm sure, had our own thoughts there. But I really did pray that he was going to be okay.
Does this change anything in terms of how long you can realistically anticipate Tony Romo being the starting quarterback? That was kind of the first hit he took all night, and to respond to it that way, I know it was an awkward sort of tackle, but do you ever reevaluate like just the status of the back and how long realistically he can do this?
No, we don't. I think you've got the risk there with Tony. As a matter of fact, I think with the way we're structured in our offense, we've done a good job of really between his blocking and his own experience as far as being smart, protecting himself. I think we've done as good as we can do, and I think you add that to the fact that he's the veteran he is. I think I don't handicap it any more than I would be if it were 5 years ago for him. Really, I don't. But certainly I like what we're doing at backup quarterback.
Does it change anything in your thinking of maybe needing another guy just in case if something happened to Tony to back up either Dak or have Dak back up somebody else?
It does not change it, no, at all. And I'm not being any way, but I thought both the backup quarterbacks last night did well for themselves. Their era is up. They're improving, and we want to see that. And so I think we're with a pat hand here.
Jerry, I hear NFL analysts talk about Dak Prescott, and they say, well, we really don't know if he's good or not because he's not facing NFL defenses. This is vanilla, and they're doing nothing to scheme against him. So how do you evaluate if these NFL analysts are standing on something? How do you kind of evaluate a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback if they're saying, well, preseason means nothing?
Well, it's the most difficult thing we have in our game is to not only evaluate them coming out of college, but to evaluate them before they get in the games, the real regular season, and it's a challenge. And but to my knowledge, and certainly in our experience, for the short time that Dak has been here, we've had the best opportunity to evaluate him. He has had basic plays that, in my mind, cover the gambit. Even if you say they're playing vanilla, I've seen him blitzed and so far. And so we've had him see everything. Then, of course, we don't want to dismiss what we see classroom with the team as well as on the practice field. And I don't know that I can go through the list of quarterbacks we've seen, but the ones of Walsh, Aikman. I'm talking about rookies coming in now. And then we certainly had Quincy. Then we turn around and have Romo. When you look at their experiences, what we did with them, and then how that panned out when you put them in regular season games. And at this juncture, he's going to have a better evaluation than Aikman had before he got on the field as far as getting in a regular season game. Frankly, a better evaluation than anybody that we've had, including Romo. So, and we like what we see.
So if you're unfortunate to have that perfect storm again and Romo would have to miss a game or so, would you be more confident in Dak as a starter than you were with Whedon, Castle, or Moore from last year?
Well, I don't know that we were uncomfortable with Whedon because we had gotten so many reps with him. He had reps at Cleveland. He was certainly had some credentials. He was drafted high. He just really looked the part. And frankly, we felt pretty comfortable with him. And he had gotten a lot of work because of Romo's not working in the spring. And so we felt pretty good about it. Not necessarily because of anything we saw in preseason, but comfortable. We certainly didn't have the promising show that Dak has shown in this preseason. So I can't say that we were uncomfortable with Whedon. Castle was mainly based on the fact that he had played in the NFL. But no, when I make a comparison of what our situation has been, when we see people, you have veterans, you've got their play time in the NFL to go by. We've also got the fact that Dak was so outstanding in college, and he carried his college team to many victories against some strong opponents in the SEC. So all of that gives you let's say I'm not uncomfortable. Comfortable may not be the right word.
Gotcha. Offense, big picture. I thought I'd like to get your thoughts on the fact that the ball was moving and you're doing things without Dez and Tony on the field. It's Bryce Butler and Dak in that line and Terrence Williams and the running backs. I thought that was a real positive indicator for the future. How about you?
I did too. The line, of course, we had Smith in there, big 77 for some of the plays, and I just thought the overall momentum there early, maybe principally because of them, was good. And then, of course, it was impressive that Dak came in and moved. That is a good test against that defense. And by the way, they did put some pressure. And so my point is we not only blocked it up, but we also had our quarterback react very satisfactory to it. So, I was impressed with that early work by the offense with that first line in there.
Well, Jerry, that was the dress rehearsal, and so now when we've seen the defensive starters out there, the guys who are probably going to be playing in your real NFL games, it seems like they've been pretty competitive with whoever they've been on the field with. That's the unit that everybody's been worried about. What do you think of them on the whole when the starters have been in the preseason?
Well, it's good to have gotten back Benson, our right in it we traded from Oakland. It's good to have Collins out there, the third-round pick from Nebraska. And I think we're going to look at the film this morning and see that they did look good. It's good to see McClain, 97. He really is an important part of our front this year, important part of a lot of things. And it's good to see him out there. Of course, Tyron Crawford wasn't there, but Jack Crawford was. And he's got a big role for us. Lawrence, we know we're not going to have him for 4 games, but certainly I like what he's and the type of training camp that he has had. So in general, we got a couple of those rookies, and Irvin and Russell. Both those guys from time to time have done some good things in the preseason. Rotation is the key word. Fresh is the key word here with these guys.
Jerry, obviously the other day, Ezekiel Elliott is caught at a marijuana dispensary. Is there something that the organization is going to do to sit down with Zeke and talk to him about that situation? Well, I won't get into that. That's not good. It's an awareness thing. Let's just leave it at that. That does get over in the area of team. That's not league. That's team discipline. Or not discipline, it's just team addressing. I can assure you that's being done, has been done early. He'll get better. He's a smart young man, and I'm very confident that he'll get better, but it's not good.
So concern about the way he's transitioning and learning to be a pro?
Well, no. Anytime we have any rookies come in, we go to great pains in the NFL, and we go in all phases, whether it be the financial or whether it be just overall behavior, expectation, all of those kinds of things, what's expected, and from the standpoint of the team as well as the individual himself. So all of that is indoctrination, acclimation, but it's not hard when you see something that you just don't want to say that's not good, let's don't do that.
Well, thank you for your time this morning. We look forward to another season.
You bet. Me
Have
too.
A good one.
Thank you.
All right,
bye.
Take care. There he is, the great Jerry Jones right here on your home of the Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan. He did make me feel a little bit better, you know. I feel like at 10:45 in the morning, if Tony woke up and the back was cramping and stuff, he'd have called in and, you know, I don't think Jerry would have been as confident in describing.
I think there was going to be a small percentage of him waking up like, I can't walk. I think that was going to be – I think there was a percentage there, but a small percentage. I think we'll be okay for week 1, but, I mean, that's 17 days to discuss. The Giants have a very good pass rush again, and they're going to hit Tony Romo again, and how is that going to go for the Dallas Cowboys?
I have a question for you, Gavin Dawson.
All right,
Let's say, in theory, Tony Romo woke up and he was like, ah! And he called Jerry and he was like, man, my back.
Yeah.
And then Jerry called in at 10:30. You think Jerry would have been like, man, Tony called me this morning and he was like,
Okay. No, I think he would have said, we're going to have more tests. We're going to see, you know, stay tuned or something like that. But, I mean, we hit him about 2 or 3 different ways, and to me it was, pretty good answers as far as confidence in Tony's back for now. Oh, geez, it's nervous time, isn't it?
Just give me one season, Tony. Give me a season. This could be a good season.
All right, so how much does the Bridgewater injury affect maybe what the Cowboys are going to go out and do? Because I'm sure that Minnesota, in the last hour and change, has been on the phone trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do now.
Well, but they're aggressively. You're in a market there for, okay, we need to go get a starter. Dallas is in the market for, let's see who falls between the cracks. Let's see who we can get the most cheaply, because we have such a dramatically different opinion of Dak Prescott on August 30th than we did on August 1st. Now, that may be premature and not as fleshed out as you would like, but, that's the stance they're going from. It's going to raise somebody like a Mark Sanchez, to throw out a name, or a Josh McCown. It may make it more difficult to get them if you thought you had a chance at all. But, even then, these quarterbacks are going to say, well, Tony Romo is going to come back. They love Prescott. I'm just there to mark time. What's going to happen when Tony does hit the field again? I'm third string. So, if any of these guys hit the open market, Minnesota is going to be much more attractive to them than Dallas, from the standpoint of they can play there and they're not going to get lost in the shuffle, and they won't be an afterthought sooner rather than later. So I'm not sure for what Dallas is looking for that it's going to impact them that much. But, boy, again, you talk about this league. But I think Zimmer was criticized for not playing Teddy Bridgewater in the preseason, or not playing, Peterson. So I'm not going to do it. Why would I put these guys at risk? And then you lose a guy in practice like that.
I know. Non-contact practice.
Yeah. It's these guys are always at risk, and it's easy to, once one of them gets hurt, to say you should have done this or you should have done that.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom line is this is just a brutal sport, even in practice. And something can happen at any moment, no matter how good a shape a guy is in.
Did anything get your attention about any of the moves that the team did make in the last few days?
Or today?
Or today?
Well, yesterday, yeah. Janelle Jenkins, here's a guy who actually gave you a little something, was leading you in sacks in the preseason. But he's gone for medical reasons, and I think that probably speaks to why he was such an early cut in Denver. I think there's probably something structurally there that was a red flag. And again, he flashed here but was unable to sustain it and stay on the field, which you see so often in training camp. That's the other element. A lot of times when a guy's not drafted, it's not because of the skill set per se. It's because physically there's something there that you wonder how they'll be able to hold up.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's what training camp and preseason does. It kind of weeds some of those guys out. The deficiency with them isn't talent or temperament or attitude. It's just physically they don't have the body that can withstand the rigors. So nothing really surprising yet. And as we talk about, it's going to be, I tell you what, the decision with Tony Romo is going to be very difficult. My understanding is what's going to happen is they're going to look at him again, Friday, Saturday, and then they're going to have to say, look, because this is anywhere from 6 to 10 weeks, is it going to be closer to 6? Is it going to be closer to 10? If it's in the middle, and if it's in the middle, which I think you have to assume that's, to me, I wouldn't look at the 6. I would look at the 8. Given his injury history, given what he's gone through, given his age, everything else, I don't know how responsible it is to look at the 6 now, unless doctors are definitive. Look, this bone's going to be healed. It's such a minor fracture. It's going to be healed at 6. So you have 2 weeks before the season, so you're actually talking week 4 or 5 he could be back in there, so let's carry him. I don't think it's going to be that cut and dried. I think they're looking right on that borderline of, you know what, you probably are going to be closer to 7 or 8 weeks. And if it's going to be 7 or 8 weeks, why are you going to carry him when you have the bye week in week 7 and then you come back in week 8? So you're having him come back 1 game earlier and you're going to carry him on the active roster? How much sense does that make?
Not a lot.
It doesn't make a lot. Now, I think it's it really is in a lot of ways, I think, going to be a damned if they do, damned if they don't decision for them on what to place him on, because you're still dealing with unknowns. You're dealing with projections on this is where he's going to be 5 weeks from now. And can you say that definitively? And is it altered by the fact of his age? And because even while this is unrelated, how does it factor with everything else that he's done before and come back from? It's a very, very hard decision, I think, as far as what to do with him.
So Jalen Smith was placed on the reserve non-football list, meaning that essentially he's ruled out technically just for the first 6 weeks of the year. Does this mean anything in the fact that they're like there's a question mark in their head or something, a light bulb going maybe at the end of the year type thing?
No. My understanding is that they're very encouraged, and he's actually doing some running and some cutting now. There's been very good progress with him, but the idea has never been that he's going to get on the field this year. Much like, for whatever reason, Jason Garrett refuses to acknowledge that Tony Romo won't be there for the opener on September 11th.
And there's been no change in that today?
No change in that today. He's still in the back brace, and they're still not ruling. At least Jason's not ruling him out for the opener, September 11th. But it's the same thing. A lot of times we don't talk about the emotional rehab a player has to go through along with the physical one, and a lot of times, just hearing, look, I don't care what this guy does this year. There's no way in the world he's going to play in 2016. Can impact physically what a guy does coming back from a significant injury. Sometimes you need that carrot out there. It's like, look, I know it's only a 10% chance, but you know what? I'm a professional athlete. I've beaten the odds before. I can win with a 10% chance. Just give me that 10% chance. So some athletes and some people, I don't think athletes, just people in all walks of life respond better when they have a bit of hope held out there versus it doesn't matter what you do this year. There's no way you're playing for us in 2016. I believe some of that is going on here. Keep the optimism, keep the hope, keep saying, wow, this is tremendous progress. Can you keep this up? You're much farther along than we thought. And then you finally get to a point where you say, look, you're farther along than you thought. There's only 3 weeks left in the season. Obviously, it's not fair to you or the team to do this now. But you know what? You are ready to go next year. You're so far ahead of where we thought you would be. Working up to that point while giving someone hope that they can play during a year, in my mind, is different than saying, hey, look, no way you're stepping out there this year. So, it's not really being deceptive or misleading a guy either. I think it's just what is best and how do people respond to hard work, rehabilitation, and what keeps them engaged. And I would argue all of us are engaged more if we can see a light at the end of the tunnel emotionally, even though if logically we know it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
All right, so how much does the Bridgewater injury affect?
Styles in studio at 8 and Jerry Jones live at 8:30. Thanks for turning it on, leaving it on. Sean, RJ, and Mac Angle in studio from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. So some stuff to catch you up on. First off, yesterday, good news. Brian Broaddus and Mickey Spagnola yesterday, at least Mickey with us for sure, floated 6 weeks as a possible return time for Tony Romo, that he would be out 6 weeks. Stephen Jones flirted with the old Brady-Bledsoe comparison with Ian Rappaport from the NFL Network, basically saying, look, Tony is our guy if he's healthy, but you never rule anything out. Remember Brady-Bledsoe? I was kind of shocked that Stephen actually went there. And Troy heard this at the Star in Frisco over the weekend, and yesterday our girl Jane Slater tweeted it. The Broncos contacted the Cowboys about a trade for Mark Sanchez. The Cowboys are not interested in a trade if it involves his current salary.
$4.5 million. Yes, Slater. $4.5 million. Especially when you could probably get him for 30 cents on the dollar in about 8 days. So
Jamil Showers or Mark Sanchez?
Would you want to bring him in even at look, they did this last year with two different guys at a high price tag that included a draft pick to get Matt Castle, when Sean could have gone out there and done the same thing. Sean, no disrespect.
No disrespect. Would I rather have Showers or Sanchez? I mean, give me a guy who's got a winning quarterback record. At least he's won games. At least he's played in games.
Went to the AFC Championship game twice.
I don't know that you can have two quarterbacks who have never played a game on your roster. That's tough to take.
I think Sanchez is more qualified than Showers, but I don't want Mark Sanchez. He sucks. He can't even beat Marcus Simeon or whatever, Trevor, whatever his name is.
Who would you be? I mean, seriously, of the guys who are out there potentially, who would you really want?
Who's the list you put together, RJ?
All right, there are 4 guys, Mac Engel, that I think that the Cowboys that are the qualified backup quarterback options. Obviously, Mark Sanchez is one of them.
Sucks.
Colin Kaepernick will be cut.
Bring him to America's team.
Exclusive. He'll be cut.
Sanchez or Kaepernick?
Sanchez. I hate them both. As players, they're done.
Austin Davis.
Don't waste my time.
Okay.
Geno Smith.
Don't. I hate him. Can't stand him. Makes me sick. I would quit. I would quit my job than watch Geno Smith play football.
Geno.
Those literally are your options, right? And,
right.
And I think Mark Sanchez is the only one that you. I mean, Kaepernick's got probably. I mean, I don't know where his talent level even lies anymore. He's getting beat up by Blaine Gabbert.
He's one incompletion away from being a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and now he's done.
Yes. Oh my God. Which is why you can't judge players on Super
And Sean
Bowls.
buried him years ago. Sean, I blame you for the demise of Colin Kaepernick.
Yep. Yeah. So those are the options. All a bunch of hot samples right there. Stephen Jones also told Peter King, I don't even think we'd trade Prescott right now for Paxton Lynch, a guy that they spent 67 minutes and 19 phone calls on. Those are the exact numbers from Peter King, with at least 9 teams on draft day to try to go get Paxton Lynch. And Steven said, I don't think our guys would even consider trading for Prescott for Lynch right now. No, I know they wouldn't. That's how much they like Dak right now. So we'll ask Jerry about this at 8:30. But he said, look, it's a different feeling than last year. It's still a gut punch. It hurts bad. But I can tell you this time around, we're not sitting around worrying when Tony gets back. We can't say we need to go 3-3 or whatever with Tony gone. The hell with that. We got to have a game plan to beat the Giants and to win every game without Romo. Mac, are you RIPing Romo in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram today?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, when Jason Garrett made that announcement on Saturday afternoon, I was on that conference call, and I really thought
Was that when he first said it?
Yeah, it was when he first said it. And I when he said Tony's got a broken bone in his back, I was like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, when we watched that play, did it ever occur to you that the injury, and especially after he got up, walked around, and was lobbying to get back into the game, did it ever cross your mind that he was seriously injured, or basically that he had sustained like sort of a stinger type of thing?
Serious injury.
At the moment he got hit, yeah, I thought he was dead.
Because he spit his mouthpiece out all slow. And then what really worried me is they showed him in the second quarter still cringing. You know, he tried to get back in, but he kind of like moved his back and he was like, but when you first saw him writhing in pain with that patented Romo dead body posture, yeah, I was like, this is not good. And that's why we were all so relieved, because it sounded like they dodged the bullet after the game with no MRI.
Yep. And then, so I have 2 different friends of mine who are physicians. One is an orthopedic surgeon and another one who's general practitioner. And the general practitioner, he's in my fantasy football league, and he said last night, the second he saw it and the way he kind of got crunched, he said, that's a lower compression fracture. He said he's going to be out a month. Now, he thinks he's going to be back. Obviously, he doesn't have access to any kind of MRIs or any specifics, but he's like, that injury is not that bad. He's going to be back in a month. He's just guessing. Another friend of mine is a doctor, the orthopedic surgeon. He said if Tony Romo suffers another injury in that general vicinity, he will be planning a new house that will include ramps.
Whoa.
It's pretty hardcore, right?
Yeah.
The one thing that I continued to say from day one, from the first time Tony Romo had suffered a back injury, was, that's it. Once your back goes, that's it. It's never the same. Yep. Anybody who's, and I only say that based on.
That's what Laufenberg and Aikman have been saying.
Everybody has said it. And the thing that when Jason Garrett had said it was, this injury is not related to the other injuries that he's had in his back. Bull crap. Once your back goes, they're all related. And my friend who's the doctor said, that's 100% right. They're all related. Because once one area goes, then the other, and it just happens. So this is what I think is going to happen. He's going to come back, try like hell to play again and to win the games that have eluded him. Talking NFC divisional round, talking NFC championship game, and a Super Bowl. And then I do believe in my gut that in the offseason we will see a retirement press conference with his family, and that will be it for Tony Romo.
You brought up Babe. Sean, go try to play golf with Babe Laufenberg right now. I've asked him. Now, maybe he's just dodging me. But
that's a good possibility.
It's a very good possibility.
Yeah.
But
because he plays with me all the time.
Yeah. First, I was like, hey, every now and then, you want to go play some golf? Man, my back, I can't play. I got my bad back. And last I checked, I don't think Babe ever took a hit like that.
Nobody took some hits.
He took a lot of hits, but I mean, Tony's had a number of them. And imagine if Babe and Tony loves playing golf.
Yeah. He's great at it.
He's going to have 35 years of a lot of golf.
Can he still play? See, that was the one thing, Sean. I wondered. He gave up golf. If he retired today, let's say he retired after the season, does his back allow him to play golf again, or did he retire just as sort of a preventative measure for his football career?
Well, if he retired as a preventative measure, it ain't working. He's getting hurt more now.
I thought he retired from golf because of the criticism. Again, none of us know. I don't know if he can go out and play 18. I mean, I know he can't now. He's in a brace. But this injury ended any optimism I had for him to play 14 games in a season. That will never, ever happen again. If he got hurt with that hit, he could get shattered. Like his bones just may spray everywhere if he gets caught blindside by J.J. Watt or Ryan Kerrigan or Preston Smith.
Like a real hit.
A real hit.
Like full speed. We're not sort of gingerly walking around in a preseason game. A real, honest to God, oh, God, Zeke missed the block.
Yes.
Good night, number 9.
Which will happen.
It's going to happen.
9-10 times in the NFL season. It doesn't matter whether you have Donald Trump's wall in front of you. It's going to happen. And
who was the big hit against the Redskins on the Sunday night game that knocked him out in 2014? Remember that hit he took?
Yeah, I don't remember who.
But it wasn't even that. It wasn't even like a massive good night
shot.
Or even the one against the Eagles in week 2 last season. It wasn't a good hit, but it wasn't one of those celebrity, NFL films types of hits.
Who's the favorite in the NFC East today, Mac?
Probably the Giants.
Oh, that's what everyone in the building is saying.
But I hate it. I mean, they'll go 6-10. I mean, seriously. I mean, do you like any of these teams?
Not really.
Eagles are a mess.
I think the Redskins are being a little disrespected. Like they didn't win the division last year. But again, we don't know about Kirk Cousins. We have no idea. Nope. Can they run the football? Of course, yesterday when I put out that poll question, still the Cowboys won it. And I think RJ yesterday.
The Cowboys won it. Did they really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
RJ guaranteed the playoffs still for the Cowboys.
Oh, I love it.
I'm going right on to I'm reactivating my Bovada, placing some straight cash homie on it. The record of finish will be Cowboys 9-7. I'm sorry, wait. Dak's quarterback 11-5. Giants, Redskins, Eagles.
I like it.
The lucky thing for Romo in this possibly is that if he's got any shot at a championship, maybe this is the best formula because he can come back, he can play in 8-9 games. It's the second half of the season, and you hope for a miracle run in the playoffs because it ain't going to happen 1-16 anymore.
No, and to me, the entire season now, like when I look at the 2016 Cowboys in light of how rookie quarterbacks have done for the Cowboys in the past, I'm talking Quincy Carter, Chad Hutchinson, Roger Staubach, Troy Aikman, on and on. None of them have done any good. Rookie quarterbacks lose.
Yeah.
So the entire season to me is now Dak Prescott's development. If he's it, if they really think he's got it, and he develops into something, the season's not lost.
Would you play him at all Thursday night?
Yeah, I'd play him the rest of the way. You got to get this kid snaps.
Ooh.
Play him the rest of the way. I mean, Jameel Showers, your backup guy. They're going to go get somebody. I mean, Jason Garrett, I asked him that question on Saturday, without butchering it, mind you. I asked him that question on Saturday, and they're looking. So they're going to go grab somebody who knows how to go through an NFL week because Jameel Showers is not going to be the backup. It's going to be Sanchez or some other piece of junk that we don't want to watch. But if I'm the Cowboys, you got to get this guy snaps. Even if they're fake snaps, get him snaps.
We're talking about the Zeke topics here with you. The G-Bag Nation, home of the Cowboys. Micky-Fisher is traveling. His reports are brought to you by Durant Toyota in Weatherford. I first heard about this yesterday. I was on my way back into Dallas from Burleson, and I was listening, and Mike comes on and says, yeah, there's a story developing here where we have Ezekiel Elliott at a marijuana dispensary. You know, it's legal up there in the state of Washington, and they're in the city of Seattle, so I think he's just walking the streets. And this is where young players in the NFL kind of get their first welcoming to the idea that life's not going to be exactly fair for you in a couple of different ways. Number one, you can't do what all the other American kids do. You can't say, hey, I'm out in public and I want to explore this city, and man, weed culture is kind of entertaining or interesting, or maybe I want to experience. You can't do that. The NFL is a different world. You also do get millions of dollars to play football, and you're going to be super famous, and even if you kind of look like a chipmunk like Zeke does, you're going to get beautiful women to sleep with you. All right, so it's unfair in lots of ways, and one of those is you can't go into marijuana dispensaries until the NFL decides to, get rid of this really antiquated rule.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong. There's technically nothing wrong with it. I mean, there would be something wrong employment-wise if you went into a dispensary, bought a bunch of edibles, ate them, and then got drug tested by the NFL. Now you're in the program. Congratulations. Walking into it, there's nothing wrong with it. But you're right. It's like, hey, welcome to being the starting running back and a top 5 pick that plays for the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to take a picture of you everywhere, and it's going to be a story.
Yeah.
Which
that would weird me out.
If anybody was going to be ready for it, it probably should have been Zeke. Because we talked about this throughout the year with the Ohio State guys. All of them were ready to declare for the draft before the year even started. Yeah. Because they were such stars, and they knew they were all going to the league. And they've been under this microscope for a while. Not to the same extent, but he probably was the one that should have been as ready as you can be.
Well, did he get used to it and learn how to handle it, or did he become enchanted by the lifestyle? You know what I'm saying?
I also wonder this. I think, and Columbus is a bigger city for a college town, but I think colleges at times really protect you. And so your campus police and stuff like that, if you're not doing something bad, like Baylor bad.
Yeah.
And
the students are going to protect you as well for the most part.
So I just think now, once you get into professional sports, they're not there to protect you anymore. They're there almost to out you. And the police, the media, I guess to an extent, they're just doing their job. Look, if you screw up, they're doing their job. Now, Zeke didn't screw up as in they caught him smoking weed or buying marijuana. There's no video of him.
What if he was in there in a Laramie Tunsil mask?
Right. That would be really bad. But that didn't happen in this situation. But I think there's just assumptions by most of the people that see that. The assumption is if Ezekiel Elliott went in there, he probably has smoked marijuana or, done an edible, or he's into that. And the Cowboys right now, because of Randy Gregory and DeMarcus Lawrence, I know it wasn't marijuana for his suspension, but it's just the Cowboys have this label from the 90s on, at least since my childhood, that this is a team that has a drug problem. And then the 4th overall pick, the new franchise player, what does he do before the season even starts in his rookie year? The dude has a drug problem. It's not fair to label Zeke that way, but that's how it's going to be labeled as a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah, man, especially on this team, you got to be hyper vigilant to make sure you're not sending out the wrong messages for such a brand. I mean, it's one of the top brands in all of America. I guess I do want to adjust the conversation a little bit and come at it from the angle of the positive. I do believe Zeke is the kind of person, smart enough, attention to detail enough, that he's not going to continue to roll downhill the wrong way like Rolanda McClain did, like Randy Gregory did, and like Greg Hardy did.
I hope so. I hope that, he seeks out advice or advice seeks him out. There's enough veteran guys on this team, and there's probably enough veteran guys on this team, I'm going to break news here, that smoke marijuana that don't get caught doing it. Just don't go to Randy Gregory for advice, Go to the right guys. And if you are a guy on the team, explain to him that this is your life, that you can set yourself up for life, your future kids up for life, and their future kids up for life. That's what God has blessed you with and the ability. You've worked hard to get it. God blessed you with the ability. Don't screw it up. Not many people, 1% of 1%, get the opportunity that you have to make millions of dollars playing a sport, and then for your family not to have to struggle for finances for the next 30 to 50 years of your family's life.
I'm going to flip my opinion mid-segment here.
Okay.
I don't care that he went in there, and no one should care that he went in there.
Okay.
Like, you went on vacation and whatever. I went on vacation and walked into a dispensary and didn't buy anything because I was curious. If you're somebody who's never been to where there is one and you walk in because you're curious to look around, good for you. Like, I get it that there's things you can't do when you're in the spotlight and it's going to be a story, but I do wish that people could be honest. And the first person that asked Zeke about it, that he would say, oh, yeah, I'd never seen one before. Like, it was really interesting. And so I walked in and walked out. What's your problem?
Yeah. I think the only problem with it is it's against the rules. Like that's
walking in one?
For the NFL, yes. They are going to come urinary analysis him now. And if he has marijuana in his system, that'll be the first.
But if you haven't smoked anything.
Yeah.
Like I would be like, yes, I was curious. I've never been somewhere where they have dispensaries. I walked in.
Yeah.
I didn't smoke weed. I'll go number one for you right now.
Yeah.
Why are you talking about it? Why do you care?
I agree, man. I don't think it should be an issue at all. I hope the players stand up in the CBA so we can be done with this story in 2021. All right, let's take your phone calls. How do you feel about this deal? Here is a caller named Anonymous. Anonymous, this is quite mysterious. Good morning.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
You're on the Fan. What do you have to share with us?
Oh, well, this is a very dense topic that we're covering here. And you can come at it from all the angles that you've discussed already. One thing I want to say to the point of Dallas Cowboys being a drug team, it's not just the Dallas Cowboys. It's league-wide. There's no denying it. And also, do you think that the NFL kind of likes this attention and it gives them something to talk about? Wouldn't you say that substance abuse and suspensions are 30 to 40% of the media these days?
Yeah, do you think the controversy is good for the product?
I do. I mean, well, it takes away from all the other controversy that they want you to look away from.
Ooh.
They want you to not focus on Roger Goodell.
That's deep. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, the players are the bad guys for doing the drugs. Wow. Do you think that they would be that, what's the word, conspiratorial with how they're going to manage who the bad guys of the league are? Let's make weed against the rules. That way the players will be mad, or the fans will be mad at the players and not us for some of the things that we're doing that are much less ethical than smoking pot.
It's a legitimate theory, but you have to just look at the NBA a few years ago who said we're getting such a bad image as we're thug life, which they weren't. But it was just the image of white America saying the NBA is thug life. Look at the weed, look at the tattoos, because you can see their bodies more. They're playing in tank tops. And they decided, look, we can't take away the tattoos and stuff that the white America doesn't like right now. But what we can do is we can just not test for this thing anymore because then that story goes away. They can't say, look at all the weed heads in basketball because we're not even going to care about it anymore. So it's just interesting that the NFL has taken, but it's a good theory that he presented on why the NFL doesn't care to not have that out there.
Here's Mike. You're in the Nation. What do you think of Zeke in a dispensary, buddy?
Man, me personally, it doesn't bother me. It's like, to me, a Christian going to Las Vegas,
Yeah.
I mean, can I talk about something else about the game about him yesterday?
Absolutely.
Okay, man. I'm 37 years old. I grew up watching Emmitt Smith, when he was a rookie all the way up till he retired. The only thing that it concerns me about Zeke, I know it's his first action. He was all hyped up and pumped up, is that I'm scared he might get himself hurt going the extra yard or something. Sometimes you got to be smart, go out of bounds.
All right.
Man, the life of a running back is really tough in the NFL because if you don't finish a run, people are like, what's he doing? And then if you finish runs, it's like, man, I don't know if he's going to make it. Like, I don't know where the win is. But like Zeke, to me, Zeke has a little bit of, like, you think back to Emmitt Smith and what made Emmitt Smith so great. And at least to me, the thing that stood out was his ability to sort of get small and maybe the word would be burrow. Like he could kind of find his way into little creases and keep it moving forward and then go down. Like there's a nimbleness and there's a niftiness to it. And Zeke has that too. He's not going to be Marion Barber where every carry, he's going to be running between the tackles and then be like, all right, where's the destruction? Like, no, Zeke's goal is to use balance and agility to avoid hits and keep going.
I think this is a surprising number. It surprised me. Most starting quarterbacks in the NFC since 2010. The Cardinals with 8, the Vikings with 8, the Rams with 7, the Cowboys with 7. 7 different starting quarterbacks since 2010, and Dak Prescott will be 8th.
That shows two things. That shows Tony Romo has been hurt a lot.
Yep.
And it shows the Cowboys have been unsettled at backup.
Yeah. Romo, Kitna, McGee, Orton, Whedon, Castle, Moore, and now Prescott to start a quarterback. He will be the 8th different starting quarterback for this team since 2010. And because he will get the start against the Giants, we talked about this with David just briefly yesterday, and it's going to be talked about a lot, I think, the next couple of days before their final preseason game. Thursday night, preseason game number 4 against Houston. Normally you rest your starters. You've already played them in week number 3 or game number 3. But here's a guy who hasn't played much. He's going to start for you opening week. If anyone needs some live action, it's probably Dak Prescott. Would you play him in this final preseason game? Now do you have to treat him as the starter or as the rookie who needs more work? I know what I would do. I would work his tail off in practice the next week and a half and give him all sorts of reps. I would not dare put him on the field on Thursday night.
I would play him. I wouldn't play him much, but I would play him. I think he needs it. And I think as long as the NFL is giving you a preseason game and now you know that he is going to be your guy for the next 6 to 10 weeks, I think he plays. And if I'm Garrett, I play him a couple of series, but I'm very cautious with him. I'm having him hand off, and I'm having him throw some quick passes, but I just want him immersed in a game situation as much as possible since he is my guy going forward and he has 0 NFL experience. I wouldn't play him, I wouldn't have him throw 10 or 15 passes. I wouldn't play him a half. I'd play him 2 series, and I'd have him throw 3 passes, and I'd just get his feet wet again so that when he goes out against the Giants, it's a little more familiar.
I understand, and I think that's a good idea because I agree he needs more work. I'm just a little freaked out right now that Tony Romo is out for 10 weeks, and I look at the guys on my roster right now, and I have 2 quarterbacks, and neither one of them have played in a regular season game, and maybe that makes you think, okay, well, you need to play the one that's going to start. But I don't want Jamil Shower starting against the Giants in week 1 because of some freaky rolled an ankle or someone fell on him like we had what happened to Kellen Moore a couple of days into training camp. I work his tail off in practice. I give him all sorts of reps. We go through every possible scenario in practice, and we start the game plan today for the Giants. It's all about the Giants with him, but I don't let him get anywhere near the field. Doesn't sound like Zeke Elliott's going to play.
Well, I was going to say this is the one caveat. If the offensive line isn't going to play, and if most of the starters around Dak are not going to play, I don't want him out there with the second or third team.
Heck no.
I want him out there with the first team offensive line. But if the Cowboys coaches have decided that they're not going to play most of the first team offensive line, then I don't want Dak out there.
Dez coming off the concussion, I don't want him playing either. I don't want him out there.
He doesn't need it. Dak needs it. Dez doesn't.
It's an interesting thing, though, because it is the dilemma of, yes, he needs work, but do you dare put him out there? And I know you can't play the game like that. Oh, he can't get hurt. But desperate times call for some desperate measures.
I also think it's different because he's 23 and he's well built. And I think he can handle, if he does happen to get hit, the risk, and hope I'm not jinxing him here, but the risk of Dak getting hurt in a preseason game, I think is significantly lower than a 36-year-old quarterback with an injury history.
True enough. I just, even if it's 1%, I don't know if I want to take that type of risk. And this is something unusual about Prescott. In the last 10 years, Russell Wilson, a third-round pick, is the only rookie quarterback to start the team's opening game without being taken in the first couple of rounds. This is pretty unusual. In fact, he is the first rookie quarterback to start the regular season that was not taken in the top 130 picks. The last time we had this was a guy by the name of Randy Hedberg, who started for the Buccaneers in 1977. He was bad, they were bad, and it didn't work out very well. It just shows you that it's very unusual for a guy to get this kind of opportunity when you're drafted where he was 135th overall. It just hasn't happened in the last 30 years. And draft position doesn't mean that much to me. I think I wonder how much that DUI hurt him in draft order. I wonder if that hurt him just a little bit because I know the Cowboys really liked him. A number of other teams liked him, but they passed on him in some earlier rounds before taking him. And I wonder how much that hurt him. As it turns out, it looks like it's worked out great for Dallas, and great that maybe the trade didn't work out to get the Memphis quarterback, which they desperately tried to get into the top of the first round.
Paxton Lynch.
Paxton Lynch in the top of the first round. It's funny.
Who, by the way, isn't starting in Denver.
No.
You see that?
Yeah, they're going with Simeon, who is a 7th-round pick, I guess, from last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, so it hasn't happened since Randy Hedberg or whoever for the Buccaneers, and now it's going to happen twice this year.
Yeah. Well, I guess the only thing is Simeon's not a rookie.
Oh,
because he was drafted either last year or year before.
Okay.
But, yeah.
But he's making his NFL first start, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think he hadn't thrown a pass in a regular season game.
Last time the Cowboys started the season with a rookie quarterback and rookie running back. Did you hear that?
1969.
Roger Staubach and Calvin Hill.
Mm-hmm. And that was
turned out okay.
That was okay, those two. So maybe this will be okay as well. It's unusual, and I would say I never thought we'd be talking about this, but I guess we knew it was a possibility that Tony Romo could get hurt. I just didn't think it would happen in the preseason.
Yeah, and it's weird how it's all fallen into place because the Cowboys rarely draft a quarterback. We always want them to. Well, they finally did, and now he's starting, and he's been incredible in the preseason.
Yeah, and I've never seen a preseason like this.
Yeah.
I think I don't wish to sound negative here at all. I truly mean that. I am suggesting first tap the brakes. He's never taken a snap in the NFL. And there is a significant difference between preseason and regular season.
Indeed.
That's number one. Number two, unfortunately, this gives other teams 3 games of Dak action and a college career to look at, to think, gee, didn't throw the out to the left terribly well. Things like that, okay? Next, Dak Prescott's a shotgun quarterback. Doesn't mean he can't handle the ball under center, but that's something that the preseason was to work on, training camp was to work on, things like that. Because Mike, isn't the best conceivable way to handle Dak Prescott's entrance in the NFL is to hand the ball to Zeke Elliott?
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of the Cowboy plan anyway, wasn't it? So, I mean, it's going to be ride your horses. So, yeah, I suppose.
Yep. Run the ball. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, play action off the run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You got a deep stable of running backs. The idea is the same. And by the way, now you're protecting 2 things. You're protecting your defense and you're protecting a rookie quarterback. Now the stress on get the ball, keep the clock rolling, and don't ask Dak Prescott to do a lot of stuff. Mike, I keep hearing people say, well, the Cowboys are going to put in a bunch of running plays. I beg of you not to do that. I beg of you not to put a bunch of running plays for Dak Prescott in. He's got plenty to handle. Reading at the line of scrimmage, executing plays, remembering plays.
And because he's got those skills, like some of these are going to turn into running plays.
Oh, yeah.
Like not designed. Like he's going to cut out.
You are Mike, that is exactly right. Don't worry about Dak running.
Yeah.
He'll run.
Yeah.
He'll run. But the thought that we're going to turn into some read option team where Zach runs the hey, might we get a play like that in a certain situation? Maybe. But Dak Prescott's job here now is to simply execute game plans. And let's not ask him to do too much. I'm not saying this in any other way than it's generally the truth. The preseason in the NFL is a fantasy land. It's just a fantasy land. Now, he's done well. That's the great thing. And I'm going to ask you, what's the best thing about Dak Prescott in the preseason in your mind?
Protecting the football?
That's one.
That's not the one you wanted, though.
He looked in charge to me.
Yeah.
He didn't look like the stage was too big.
Yeah, he looked calm.
Yeah.
He did look like a leader, and that's what the other guy said, too. That's the one thing that kind of stood out. Everyone's like, God, he's so kind of calm. in charge. Like, it doesn't feel bigger than he can handle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember way back, when when Clint Longley had to come in the game? I remember talking to some Cowboys way back then, and he said he ran onto the field, and he said guys were in a huddle looking at each other saying, oh, God.
Yeah.
Even though Longley engineered the comeback. But he seems to have earned a very significant amount of respect in that huddle. He seems to, but that's what playing in the SEC will do. I hate to say one conference. Hey, it could be Oklahoma, it could be USC, it could be Michigan or Florida State or Clemson. Pick a program. That's what playing in a big program, competing before 100,000 people, going to Alabama, going to LSU, going to A&M, going to Auburn. That's what that does for you. The stage doesn't look quite as big when you go to the NFL. Now, on the first game of the season, the Cowboys will start a rookie quarterback and a rookie running back. Last time the Cowboys started a rookie quarterback and a rookie running back in the same season, it was 1969. Mike Soroy was a gleam in Vida's eye.
I was a little squirt.
You weren't alive then.
No, I wasn't.
No. And it was Staubach and Calvin Hill.
Yeah.
Yep. In the last.
Well, that worked out.
That worked out okay.
See?
And then
1 for 1. What else you got?
Well, this is the third rookie quarterback to start a game for the Cowboys, game 1 in 50 years. And the other two were Staubach and Aikman.
Well, that worked out.
That worked out.
2 for 2.
We got a trend here.
What chances do you give him of starting the regular season and looking pretty close to what he looked like in the preseason?
I give him a pretty good chance to do that, because if he were a linebacker in the defense, I'd have big worries. But he isn't. He's a quarterback on an offense that knows what the hell it's doing. I mean, you look at that situation. Bryant, Williams, Smith, Collins, Frederick, Martin, Free, Witten, and then a tremendous running back, backed by a terrific running back also. You got no holes there that I can see. There's no thinking, like last year, when the quarterback came on the field and he didn't have Dez. That's hard. Dak is in about as good a position to succeed as you can put a kid right now. Now, what does Vegas say? The odds on Dak Prescott being Offensive Rookie of the Year dropped from 300 to 1 to 7 to 1.
Yeah.
He's now third.
Behind who? Zeke?
Zeke, and I think Jared Goff is the other one. Now, does he play against Houston on Thursday? Absolutely not. Not.
See, that's a tricky one, because if one guy could use some more reps before the Giants game, it's him. But I understand you just can't risk it.
Can't risk it.
I mean, he needs this practice.
They need Dak more than he needs that practice.
Okay.
I think. What about you?
Yeah, no, I tend to agree, because if Dak Prescott is carted off the field against the Texans, then we are full-on panic, and this is a disaster season. Like, there's no averting it. But, yeah, so I think you're right. I guess I think he shouldn't play, but right now, he needs this. Like, this is the biggest 12 days, 13 days of his life getting ready for this game. And it's important, and Garrett knows it's important, and there's nothing like simulated gameplay. And say what you want about preseason, it's as close as you can get to regular season NFL football as there is on this planet. Like, that is the reps he needs.
So, Jerry, after the Seattle game, we thought we dodged a bullet. No Romo MRI, and then we were all hit with this crazy Romo news with the broken bone in the back. What happened? How did this play out? How did we get here?
Well, we just pretty self-explanatory. He came in and had an MRI the next morning or the next day, and I got word of it late there Sunday. And I'm sorry, it would be Friday. I had my days not right, but anyway, got word of it there very late Friday that it was showing some fractures. So that's kind of how that works out.
How long do you expect him to be out?
I don't know, and don't know that anybody does, but, it's quite a range there, probably 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to I just don't know, and I don't know that anyone does. It depends on, of course, the bone should heal pretty relatively quick, and then he'll just need to get that back in good strength, and then we'll go from there.
Jerry, back in December, I asked you how much longer you thought Tony Romo would be Tony Romo, and you said 4 to 5 years. And that answer sort of generated quite a response because people were like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I don't know if that's very realistic." In light of the injury that he has sustained now at 36 years of age, what is your timeline in regards to Romo's future?
One of the things that I think we know about health, age, without trying to be cute, just because I said it doesn't make it so. And the same goes for you as well. It's because we're all guesstimating and estimating a lot of different things there. So, but I have every reason to believe the doctors have told us that this injury is not one that would compound his situation at all relative to his injury. And so I don't have any reason other than the very obvious, and that is that when it happens and you're left on with limited time that he's out there, then it certainly gives you more cause to be more sensitive and aware that him, as well as any player, could have a limited time, and it's part of our game. But still, I'm not trying to be trite. I'm not trying to be positive. I'm not trying to be negative. We just have a situation where, as we would with any player, that we've got to deal with the prospects of injury. And with these coming off of last year as well as this year of dealing with some injury, then it makes it more acute and makes it more sensitive.
Jerry, with your experience with Troy Aikman and his injury, specifically his back, is there any part of you that fears that Tony Romo may have to retire because of this?
Well, he'll retire sometime, but I don't expect this injury to cause him to retire.
Jerry Jones joins us here on 105.3 The Fan. In terms of getting a backup quarterback to sit behind Dak for now, where do you guys stand on that? Trades, wait for somebody to get cut? What's the latest?
We'll go into the game with what we've got tomorrow night and or Thursday, and then we'll check the waiver wire. It's not impossible that we'll go with two quarterbacks during this interim period of time with Tony. We are having and getting other opinions, other information to give us a better feel for the length of time that we may be looking at here as to whether or not we put him on IR or not. So that has some bearing on it.
Is Dak going to play on Thursday? And if so, about how long?
I don't think I don't know that we've come to a total conclusion on that. We do want to be very mindful of the fact that we've got to have him for our opener. So that's the limitation of having this game on Thursday, is that we have a lesser time for somebody to heal up from a nick. And I'm not trying to be elementary here, but we'll be very mindful of that, and that Dak is our man going into the opener, so we'll take that in consideration.
Jerry, does the injury to Tony Romo douse your optimism any for this 2016 season?
Well, it's a setback, but I don't know that we aren't going to get into the mode of looking ahead into the season of when we'll all have all hands on deck, or he'll be coming back. We don't want to get into that mode or like we were last year. That was fatal to us last year, and I think impacted the mentality of everybody. We don't have to do that this year. I think the overwhelming sense on the team is we're going to go with our guys that are healthy, and in this case that includes Dak, and we're going to win games. And I think that's as a result of what we didn't do last year.
Jerry Jones right here on 105.3 The Fan, every Tuesday with Sean, RJ, and Matt Gangle from the Forward Star Telegram. How much do you expect the offense to change with Dak in there instead of Tony, Jerry?
Well, I don't think that Dak has the same range in the sense of, maybe that's not the right word, but he has the same playbook, the entire playbook, if not from just the obvious, and that is that he doesn't have that kind of experience. On the other hand, he'll be able to do some things that we wouldn't do with Tony, that in terms of moving around or in terms of some of the option things that might be more physical. We wouldn't have done that type of thing with Tony. We will do it with Dak, and that could be a big difference. But some of your option stuff could be a consideration. He could be somebody that they have to account for more in the running attack and just play option type stuff.
Jerry, could you envision a scenario where Tony's healthy to return but doesn't get his starting job back if Dak and the team is doing great?
I haven't so much as even thought about that. This is the first time I had really heard that, and I haven't given that, and that's too optimistic, if you really want to know the truth about it, to think about.
Jerry, back in 2006, when Bill Parcells named Tony Romo the starter, I remember your reaction as slightly, I don't want to say subdued, but your reaction was starting a rookie quarterback is hard because you knew that usually starting means you're going to lose some games because of the bumps that come along with a rookie quarterback. Is your feeling about starting a rookie quarterback today in 2016 and Dak Prescott similar to how you felt in 2006 when Bill named Romo the starter?
Well, that still goes. I think the more experienced quarterback you have, the better chance you probably have of being of not having mistakes beat you. That's just something that comes with experience, is playing, being safe with the ball. That comes to my mind immediately. Frankly, I can give you, in Tony's case, where we opened up more offense with him, although we had the concern of him turning the ball over. This may have similar characteristics about it, but and on the other hand, Dak has been pretty careful with the ball, and so yet giving us some offense out there. And plus, I like where we are with our the other parts of the offense. Obviously, the protections, the running game, all of that. I think, frankly, we're better than we were then. So on that side of the ball. So in general. So I'm not saying better as a team. I'm not ready to make that statement, but certainly from the standpoint of what we can do offensively and some of the other things we can do that we don't have to depend on, that experience are there and alive in this team.
Jerry, has any of this with the Romo injury changed the way you feel about the preseason? It's such a hot issue throughout the NFL and their fans of shortening it, getting rid of it somehow. Where do you stand on the preseason?
Well, it's been this way. This is my 27th year, and it's never been any different than it is now. It's always been a hot topic during the preseason. And so I still have some of the same thoughts, only flavored with the 27 years that I've been involved. Certainly we have always and continued to look for ways to have less games. You guys know the history here. They've I think at one time they had as many as 12 preseason games, and many years they had 6 and 7 preseason games. So if you look at it over a period of years, it's gone down. The preseason has shortened, but those were years when the players sold insurance in the off season. So did Coach Landry, and so they just actually playing pro football had a part-time-ish flavor to it.
Jerry, what's the status of Sean Lee?
The status of Sean Lee, I'm not so sure I know where he's starter.
No, is he hurt?
No, he's not hurt at all.
So he's good to go Thursday. Okay.
Jerry Jones.
Not in any way. I don't know if he'll play Thursday, but there's no I'm not sure I understand your question.
I was under the impression that he suffered some bumps and bruises in Thursday night's game in Seattle. But he's clear and he's fine?
No.
All right.
No, he's fine.
Jerry, what do you make of what Colin Kaepernick is doing and his stance going on in San Francisco?
I don't have I have no comments or thoughts there because I don't want to talk about the personnel of another team at all. But I sure am proud of our guys and proud of what we did at training camp, and I'm proud of how they have handled things. And so we'll leave it at that. I think answering your question that way is very appropriate, since I thought our guys did a great job the way we started training camp and recognizing our need to join together and bond as far as our community is concerned.
Jerry, last thing for you. We know that losing Tony is a blow, but the entire Metroplex and Cowboy fans everywhere are still pumped over what they've seen over Dak Prescott. Do you, at the same time of being, obviously a little depressed or stunned, do you still have this excitement of what could happen with Dak starting against the Giants to kick this thing off?
I do, because of his promise and future. The promise of his future has created a lot of energy, and there's no doubt that's reality.
Yeah.
And you can feel it and you can see it. And this is a team game, to be very trite, and so energy counts for the entire team. It's never been a one-man show, although Tony was critical and the most important ingredient. But we've got a lot of energy here, and we can win with this. And I think Dak's under center brings a lot of that there. That's not to imply that we didn't have excitement with Tony's being healthy. But on the other hand, we literally, and I don't want to talk out of both sides of my mouth, but we've got a chance to develop that energy, that asset, so to speak, with Dak, and have both, because Tony will be back.
If you are a little bit down, like Jerry sounded this morning, we got the perfect solution for you. He is not our Cowboy insider, Micky-Fisher. He is not our star at the Star in Frisco, Mickey Spagnola. He's a combo. He's our Cowboy Frisco insider. He's Micky-Fisher, making his return here on The Fan. And he's on the AA Best Bail Bonds phone line. Micky-Fisher with Sean, RJ, and Mac Angle. Mickey, where's your panic level regarding Romo and this Cowboys season?
Well, define panic. What does that even mean? Does that mean I'm going to start having a heart attack or something? Because I'm not even close to having one. I'm in perfect health.
Mickey, you know what I mean? Are you panicking about the Cowboys season? Mickey, you know what I mean? Are you panicking about the Cowboys season? Are you freaking?
Prescott play? Have you?
Yeah.
I don't think you have.
We have.
If you had, you'd know he's the best rookie quarterback to come into the league since Peyton Manning. In fact, he's better, because he won't set the rookie record for interceptions. So no, I'm not panicked at all.
America, Micky-Fisher here. Got another exclusive surprise. Tony Romo has a fracture in his back.
Wait. Is that your news you're reporting right now, Fish?
Yes, it is breaking news, first reported by me at 105 through the fan and my 48 paywall sites. I have to correct those media idiots like Schefter and Werner and that new chick Slater who keeps saying that it's not a broken back, you morons. It's fractured. There's a difference. If you can't fake being a doctor, you might as well just kill yourself.
Wow.
Speaking of Dr. Marsh and I played nurse and patient last night. I was the nurse.
That's TMI. Mickey, a lot of people want to know this. Is Tony Romo ever going to play football again?
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
They're just asking for a guesstimate. Just a guess.
I mean, why would he retire if you ask me? I mean, did Johnny Unitas and Joe Montana and John Elway just go away quietly? Did they retire when they were done? No. They all decided they wanted to win some more rings, so I think Tony will do the same.
But Mickey, Tony doesn't have any rings.
Yeah.
Well, that's not his fault, is it? That's not the point. All right? He never had any help. If he'd had help, if one of those referees didn't try to steal the game in Green Bay or against the Giants or that game in that Minnesota game was closer than the 34-3 score, the ref blew it.
Come on, don't be a homer, Mick.
Come on.
Amanda Fish here again, as I first reported 2 weeks ago about Romo's back injury. Allow me to be the first to report that Romo will resume workouts in 3 to 6 weeks. That is something that is just not reported by anyone but me first. All right, meanwhile, allow me to also be the first to report that Dak Prescott will be the team starting quarterback in week 1.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. What an exclusive story, Mike.
Mike Fisher, exclusive. You can only get this content here from me. I don't know why you even bother to follow those other functional illiterates on Twitter.
Illiterates?
Speaking of functional, satin sheets are not functional when you're trying to play naked twister while recreating the floor routine of Simone Biles. It doesn't work. That is a PSA from the Fish to you.
He's Micky-Fisher. Optimism always, and exclusives joining us here on the AA Best Bail Bonds phone line. Mickey, what do you make of Zeke Elliott heading into that marijuana store in Seattle?
Well, I mean, what kind of heads was he looking for in that headshot?
Mick,
did he have a costume party to go to where he needed a Phantom of the Opera mask?
Mickey, it's a pot shop, man. They sell weed. They sell weed paraphernalia in there.
I mean, I don't know what he'd be doing in there. He told me personally he never touches drugs, so why would he lie to me? I mean, what does he need from there? Do they sell syrup? I mean, the Cowboys should really put a lasso on him to make sure he doesn't go there any more times. I mean, that's just the bottom line. If he finds a brothel in New York City, we're going to have a talk with him now.
Amanda Fisher, one more time, working on a story in the 105 through the fan newsroom.
We did actually build a newsroom on the 11th floor.
Yes, we did. I can now confirm the Cowboys have moved their training facility to Frisco from Valley Ranch. You can no longer go to Valley Ranch when you want to watch practice. That is exclusive breaking news from me and only me. By the way, man, I've decided to get a flip phone. I think the chicks dig it, to be honest. And, I've got to get these girls to stop sending me photos. It's slowing up my phone. And quite frankly, unless you're a 10, I don't want to see it. When you're Mike Fisher, website owner, exclusiver, and quite honestly, a better artist than Monet, you don't need anything less than Beyonce sending you photos. And even Beyonce is questionable.
So angry.
Gotta run, man. Sia is at the door. I'm going to make her my cheap thrill.
He's our Cowboy Insider, where the stars always up. Optimism for the undefeated 2016-17 Cowboys. Micky-Fisher on 105.3 The Fan. Sean Sharif, RJ Choppy, Matt Gangle in studio from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. In all seriousness, though, and I've been very critical of Jason Garrett. RJ's always defended him. This exact situation and moment is where Jason Garrett shines the best. This is his skill set. Whether you want to talk about past injuries, now, I know you can throw the record in my face, 1-11 last year. I still maintain they had the right approach. They tried to keep every game low scoring, and how many of those games are 1 or 3 point losses? Like, it was right there for about 3 to 5 wins. And I think this team not falling apart, not quitting, not mailing in the season. That's the strength of Jason Garrett and all this cliche teamwork stuff. And we don't have, we're focusing on the next practice. We're not going to get down. It's next man up. All that stuff that we roll our eyes at a lot of times It has worked in the past, and I believe it will work again with more excitement because Dak Prescott is the quarterback after this preseason. But this, to me, is Garrett's best skill set, keeping them all together and focused on the next day.
They've never quit on it.
They've never quit on him. He's never lost him. Even last season, they were playing for him when the season was long gone in December.
And if they get the defense that they got the first, 10, 12 games of last year, with Dak Prescott, they're going to start 6-0. It's not even a question.
Can you stop?
They'll be at least 5-1. Maybe the Green Bay game, but they'll whip everyone else.
Giants, Eagles, Redskins, they're all gone.
Stinks. Cincinnati, no talent. They're going to beat everybody else.
You're right. I mean, the one thing Jason Garrett's done, it's hard to sit there and celebrate his record. What is it, 2 games over 500 and 1 playoff win? That's a really hard thing to celebrate.
I don't have great faith. My number one faith wants to be that they're going to change the offense for Dak. And
to what?
Some spread stuff, some college stuff. I want them.
They won't do that.
Well, I would hope that they would. You can't have the same exact offense, I don't think. You always have. This is where I knock Jason. I know that Bill Belichick. I know that Bruce Arians. I know that Sean Payton. They're just, you would see some difference based upon the skill set and the players out there. I think Scott Linehan will do it. I wish I knew for sure. But that's been a humongous offensive question that I've had about this staff with Jason leading it. Are they, when Lance Dunbar comes back, we see a Lucky Whitehead reverse in the preseason, and we're all like, oh, my God.
He doesn't believe in the reverse. Jason Garrett's not a reverse kind of guy.
Creativity.
Well, that may be, but, go back to look at some of the really good offenses in the NFL. And I know Peyton Manning's not necessarily everybody's Peyton Manning, but it's here, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do really well. Even the Cowboys in the 90s, they don't sit there and trick you up and do anything great. It's more like, we've got a good offensive line. We're really good at what we do. Here's what we're going to do. Now, you try to stop it. Oh, that's right, you can't. You hear great stories about Michael Irvin and Jay Novacek lining up at the line of scrimmage and telling defenders, this is what we're going to do, and they couldn't stop it. Now, Cowboys are not, and they're not going to do that with Dak Prescott. But if you look at Jason Garrett's lineage, Scott Linehan's lineage, Wade Wilson's lineage, they're all conventional pro set offenses. They're not going to adopt, a spread.
No, not straight. I'm just
Dak.
talking about little sub packages. I'm not talking about coming out RG3 style and running the option.
No, but you're talking about getting them out of the pocket, moving. I think they'll do that.
Okay.
I think they would do that.
I think too. I don't know for sure. I don't know.
Not a lot of trust.
Yeah, not a lot of trust. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
To talk about the Tony Romo injury, joining us now on the ticket hotline is the owner and general manager of the Cowboys, probably in a bad mood this morning as we say hello to Jerry Jones.
In a great mood this morning.
Great mood, wow.
Excited. A lot of exciting things going on right now. Let me just be very clear about 2 things. I feel horrible that Tony broke his balsa wood back again. Feel horrible about that.
Yeah.
He's about as fragile as a pudgy woman on date night asking if her new outfit looks good. But that's number 1. Horrible. Feel horrible about it.
Okay.
Number 2. It's the best thing to happen to the Cowboys.
Oh,
Jerry,
gosh, don't say it.
Jerry.
Don't be fooled by preseason action.
Dak Prescott is a miracle.
He's played really well.
Played very well. He's strong, young. His back getting made out of paper.
Hey.
His health is a sure thing. And, Tony's health, he's getting up there in age. His health is iffy. About as iffy as a Kim Kardashian number 2.
Oh, gosh.
Mud flaps, George. Mud flaps.
Okay, all right.
But, yes, I'm sure a lot of Cowboy fans want to know the latest on his prognosis.
Prognosis.
Mm-hmm. 6 to 10 weeks, that's what we're hearing. And so by my calculation, by the time Tony's ready to come back, he'll be 46, 47, somewhere there.
No, not years, I don't think. It's just weeks, right? He's going to be back in weeks.
Hey, I just want to remind everything that we also have a quarterback that doesn't stand for national anthems, but that's because Tony can't. He can't. He's in a full JFK back brace these days. But Dak Prescott. I want everybody to remember this because this is a momentous day. We're going to ride this kid to about 3, 4, 5 Super Bowls.
Wow.
Within the first 3 years.
Wow.
Man.
It's quite a prediction.
That's a very bold prediction. It is. And a lot of people wondering who we're going to get to back up Dak Prescott. 3 words. John Stephen Jones.
Your grandson.
Have y'all seen this non-Spalding?
Yeah.
He is amazing.
We already had a great game on Friday. That's congratulations.
He is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, he had a great game on Friday, and I was very proud. I am very proud to call Johnny Football my grandson.
You finally got a Johnny Football.
You know, I know
Johnny Football. That's him.
he sounds like a good player, but I think that's against NFL rules to have a high school junior on your roster.
Well, you know how much power I have with the NFL. We'll get that changed real quick. Real quick. Speaking of high school, we had a quadruple header of high school games at the Star.
Yeah, we saw that.
Do you know how much money I bilked out of them high school parents?
How much?
With my $10 parking and my $15 beer.
I don't think they sold beer. The high school
Well,
game.
we have to sell it a little under the counter. It's a little under the counter at them high school.
Wow.
$50 million.
What?
Wow.
In
That's
4
where I get
games?
to my bottom line. $50 million. Well, how about them apples, huh, Giorgio?
Dang.
Can you believe that?
That's pretty awesome.
Hey, speaking of, George, I heard you were saying that I had my toupee on crooked last week.
I just wondered what was going on. Your hair looked different. I'll say
I don't
that.
appreciate that. I don't appreciate that very much.
Well, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Estimation.
I'm sorry.
Well, it pisses me off. You are fired from doing our PA system.
Well, you did that a long time ago.
Oh, so this is the second comment you made about my toupee.
Was the first one over the PA?
I guess so. I don't know what you doing. Hey, you know that that quadruple header, Jerry Jr. was all fired up about that because one of those schools is where he goes.
He's in high school? He's taking high school courses?
Yes, he is. He's in the band. He can't play football because apparently the UIL doesn't allow anyone over 50 to play on varsity or junior varsity.
But he's in the marching band, huh?
He's in the marching band, right. He plays the tuber.
The tuber?
He does. He plays the tuber.
Well, that's good. I'm glad they won.
That is. Hey. Remember these 2 words, because I think you're going to be hearing a lot of them in the coming season.
Okay.
Dak Prescott.
Okay.
Dak Prescott.
That's the pronunciation.
That's right. He's the new Tony Romo. He's the Tony Romo without the no Super Bowls.
Well,